You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of 91 Reasons of our Homestuck sub-series, as we delve deeper into this amazing webcomic. I'm your co-host, Austin Tucker, and I'm joined by our main host today.
I am the voice of 91 Reasons. I am Jeff Tucker.
I'm Luna.
And what are we going to do today, Austin? Austin is leading this show today. So he is becoming the new voice of Homestuck Reasons. Go ahead.
Well, we got a whole list of stuff. Some of it is Homestuck stuff that's happened in the past few weeks, and some of it is what people on Reddit have wanted us to talk about.
And what's interesting is that you have tried to engage me in Homestuck conversations every day of this week. And what do I keep telling you?
Save it for the podcast.
Save it for the show. It's not worth saying if it's not worth saying on microphone. We want to open it up by saying thanks to everyone who's listening. It's amazing to see the numbers grow. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and for subscribing. And you can go on our Patreon page, patreon.com. If everyone who listened pledged $1, we could quit our jobs and do Homestuck every day. Is there enough to talk about every day?
Absolutely.
All right, so Austin, you lead us down the Homestuck path this week.
I think first we should talk about our number one requested thing to talk about. We have so many Reddit comments of people telling us to do this and talk about this subject of the fandom that we haven't covered yet. And I am sorry if we haven't mentioned it yet, because it is a pretty large thing. It's actually how most people get into Homestuck. It's through Collab HQ. And Collab HQ is a group of people who voice webcomics. And they have voice acted Homestuck, and they read aloud in the characters' voices, and they have read 75% of the comic through. Like, we're talking 8,000 pages worth of voice acting.
How many hours is that?
It's, oh god.
Have you listened to it?
I listen to sometimes, yes.
To bits and pieces, the best of. I don't know if they've counted up the hours yet. I think they're waiting to like catch up. It's really, oh god.
It's really long, because with voice acting, suddenly the chat logs you can quickly skim through or read through thoroughly that take a few minutes, or suddenly with voice acting take 30 minutes, you know? It's a lot more spread out, and it is very time consuming, but the voice acting is amazing.
What prompted these guys to want to create a Homestuck audio version? And it's not authorized, right?
No. It's completely
it's not like
fan-made.
Andrew Hussey's not directing it going, and go, you're Car Cat.
It is completely fans.
All by the fans.
By the fans. They're not making any money off it.
No.
Do you know the catalyst? Like, why did they start doing it?
I haven't looked much into their history, no. When we joined the fandom, they had already done a good, 40% of the comic.
And it's just guys, do they get together, or does each one record, like, at their far corner of the earth,
Yeah,
and then somebody assembles it?
And send it into their editor. They've gotten to the point now where they do all kinds of other non-Homestuck stuff, too.
They voice tons of webcomics now.
Yeah, there was other webcomics. They live stream games, that kind of stuff. They had their own indie game. Is it still on Steam Greenlight?
I believe it is.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah, they're at where? Act 6, Act 4, I think. At Intermission 3, somewhere around there. They're almost immune bound.
How do they make money off of it, or do they?
They don't. They're just fans
I don't
who
think
make
they
it.
do. No, I think they just it doesn't cost them anything. They sit down, record a few voice lines a few times a week.
Do they have YouTube advertisements in some of their non-licensed videos?
They might on some of the non-Homestuck stuff. They might even on Homestuck. Hussey doesn't seem to care about YouTube advertisements as much as other people do.
Now, you guys consider the audio version as almost canon, right? The voices become canon, right?
For Collab HQ, I'm not that fond of all their voices.
And surprisingly, even though everybody gets in the fandom through Collab HQ, when someone first reads a comic, they always gravitate towards Octopimp's videos.
Yeah, even though they might have dedicated 20 hours of their life of watching Collab HQ, they still prefer the other videos. I don't know why.
Octopimp's voices aren't very good compared to HQ.
The Collab HQ voices are good, but they never stick.
And Octopimp is not affiliated with HQ?
No, he's not.
He's on his own.
He's on his own. He's given up on. He was all on his own, then gave up on Homestuck.
How do you give up on Homestuck?
He's done with
He
it.
one day announced, "I'm leaving." He
And
posted
now-
his final Homestuck video, and now he just does anime.
Now he does anime dubs, and he's actually hired by MTV to record anime ads for Teen Wolf. Like, an ad will open up and it's the anime characters, but Octopimp's dubbed over the voices saying to go watch Teen Wolf on MTV. And he airs these before his Homestuck sorts and makes a lot of money off of it.
Who is Octopimp?
We talked about him before.
We did?
He's a voice actor who does Homestuck videos. He's the most popular one. He does a lot of Tumblr comics. He can voice almost any male character.
Does he do anything legitimate that we would know him from, or is he simply an Uber fan sort of
He's just
thing?
a YouTube guy.
Just a YouTube
He did all
guy.
Homestuck videos, and now he does anime abridged series.
Now he doesn't like to mention or talk about Homestuck, really.
Do you
Yeah.
prefer Octopimp or the HQ guys?
HQ. I don't like
If I had
Octopimp,
to
but-
pick one, then HQ. Even though some of their voices are a little weird.
So you both pick HQ
Yeah.
over
If we have to
Octopimp.
pick. I mostly have my own voices, I imagine, for the
Octopimp's a
characters.
joke. HQ's actually some understandable voices.
Their Doc Scrats and Dork voices are really
Yeah,
good.
their Hussey's good. I see people copy their Hussey a
Why
lot.
don't you give us some of your favorite voices that you do, Austin?
Well,
Name a character and then do their voice.
I can't do that very well. I don't know what it'll sound like in the mic.
Doesn't
But
matter.
I don't know. I don't know how to say that. Like, there's a Homestuck cover of How Far We've Come. It goes around Tumblr sometimes. And I don't know who recorded it, but it's the best Homestuck voice acting I've ever heard. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Well, is it like Meryl Streep? What's going on here?
I don't know how to explain
It's
it.
just a song that has every character singing, and they're all pretty good voices.
Yeah? You can't give us a taste?
No.
Since we can't air it on the show?
We can't air it, no.
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
But you've done, like, character voices before. Like, who has the real gravelly voice?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another voice actor. That's Toby Radiation Fox. That's the canon voice.
Hussey says it's the canon voice. That's a
Toby
joke.
Radiation Fox is the Hussey-approved
Yes.
canon Homestuck voiceover
Toby
artist.
is on the music team. He's known Hussey since before Homestuck even started. He writes a lot of the main theme music for Homestuck. Him and Powell do the main songs that anyone could recognize.
And he records these ridiculous parody Homestuck
Yeah.
voice actings. They aren't serious at all.
But just as bad as he can make them. And Hussey's always just like, yes, the canon voice. There he goes. Perfect.
That's great. So great.
He's voiced Sweep Row, Hella Jeff,
Carcat,
Latula, John, Dave, Rose. Is it Bowman's girlfriend who does Rose in the video?
Yeah,
I think it is.
Has there been anybody's voice that's come on that you're like, that's nothing like I thought it was going to sound?
I don't agree with a lot of the Octopimp voice acting.
Carcat and Collab HQ is a little weird. I don't know
Yeah,
who does their Carcat, but he does it like really high pitched and whiny. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Carcat needs a deeper voice.
Octopimp's Equius, I just can't stand it. It's not my Equius voice. I don't imagine him speaking all gravelly like that. I
Yeah,
imagine him speaking
Do you
refined.
prefer the
'cause-
snively voice he almost did?
No, I imagine that he speaks really refined because he's a high blood. He wouldn't like stutter a
Yeah.
lot, you know.
How often do they update these HQ guys?
They try to do an episode every week, but sometimes they're like, we couldn't do one because there's a big thing in the comic that's taken us a while to edit. So they do some of Paradox Space instead.
And those are great to
They
me,
did-
actually.
Yeah, I think they finished Problem Sleuth or got as far as they could.
Is Paradox Space canon anymore, or
That's another thing on our list we'll get to after
Okay.
collab.
We can
Okay.
lead into that right now.
We
Why
can
not?
that's a good point to lead
Yeah.
into it. We have a lot of people in the Reddit yelling at us that, no, Paradox Space was never meant to be canon. You guys need to stop picking it
But
apart.
okay,
We went back and looked at the first news post, and it says that Paradox Space was a comic Hussey designed because he knew he wouldn't have time for things in canon. He says it was meant to unravel events that were unseen in the comic and explore doomed timelines.
and here's how the story goes. They have written at least 50 scripts of Homestuck side stories that are all extremely canon that was Paradox Space was supposed to sew. And they sent them all to Hussey. These are all side stories in the comic that won't be explained. And every one, he said, I'll explain that in the video game.
Yeah,
And he's
the
canceled
problem
them.
with Hussey is he won't let any of that stuff through. Just the goofy stuff gets through.
The only one to get through was the Felt story.
The Felt story that was written by Hussey, so
Yeah.
it was okay.
But every Paradox-based comic should be a canon explained odd and end.
But it can't because Hussey doesn't know what he's going to explain before the comic.
So that's
ends.
why every comic is a goofy
That's why we
doomed
get all these
timeline
weird-
of a meteor.
We get a lot of goofy. That could be canon. It could not. It doesn't really matter. It's just something that happened. And then it's almost become a running gag with the team now, like to just mess with canon, just to mess with us,
Just to mess with it.
like
Because there are no consequences.
Yeah, early on in Paradox Space, they did a comic that showed how Equius lost his horn, which is pretty cool. His broken horn in the comic is never explained. Now at this point, he's broken his horn in 3 different Paradox Space comics. They're just messing with us.
It's because everybody wants to come up with a story, and then hopefully theirs is the best, right?
Yeah.
This isn't the only promise Paradox Space kind of broke, because at the beginning they said not only will it explain canon odds and ends, but they planned to publish this in volumes, and it was going to be a family-friendly Homestuck storyline.
They gave up on that pretty quickly. It started out family-friendly, and then they just sort of gave up on that.
Yeah, they censored everything.
They still do. All the pages are the same size, so they could print it if they wanted to. But they've done a few GIFs now, and they keep retconning words from old comics, so they're kind of losing their ability to do that.
They're really inappropriate. I mean, if they publish them, they could publish them if they wanted to.
It seems like at some point they brought it to Boom, and Boom said no. So they said, it doesn't matter, we're going to self-publish it, so let's just do whatever.
For those not knowing who Boom is, they publish all of Ryan North's comics.
Boom is a subdivision of Kaboom. They do Adventure Time, Midas Flash,
all of Hussey and Ryan's walks.
All that stuff. And it was obvious Paradox Space was set up to be a Boom comic, but I'm guessing at some point they turned it down and they've decided to self-publish Paradox Space.
It follows the Boom setup where it's a bunch of short stories with little author notes at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's literally the same format
It's the
as a
same
Boom
format,
comic.
same page size, the author's notes.
Considering Hussey's done art for Boom before and Ryan North writes most of their comics,
they have the end to do it, but
was it intended as an issue that was going to go out? You're saying yes?
It looks like it was. The way they have the pages set up and it all formatted, it's meant to be a printed comic, but they sort of gave up on making it usable and for print.
Could you right-click, save, and then print it out yourself?
I guess
Make your own
could.
comic?
There's a couple animated pages. The one with Rose talking to Jasper.
but the holiday activity sheets.
The holiday activity sheets were made to be printed out. And I guess you could print it out, but you gotta wait like a week after the comic comes out because they keep changing things now. So
They retconned a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Without telling us.
What is your general feeling about retcon? Because I'm old school. I want you to tell me the story, and I want that to be the story. What do you think of them constantly going back and going, no, it's different now.
In the comic, it's okay because they have an explanation for it. There's a reason that it's happening to the characters. But Paradox Space, it just gets tiring. Like, these things don't exist anymore, and they keep changing things. They didn't even tell us. Like, we looked back at a comic from a week ago. It now says, to be continued at the end. And it wasn't there before. It used to say the end. And now it says to be continued.
Well, that's the same thing that happened from Back to the Future's theatrical release to its home video release. To be continued was tacked on, and I was shocked. Because originally, it was not supposed to continue. It was a one-off. But, of course, money begets money. And if it's successful, there must be another one because we need to continue.
But they knew people were going to buy it and rewatch it and then find that at the end as a fun surprise. Paradox Space, almost no one looks back and reads the old stuff.
Why not?
It's
Does it have no rereadability?
There's no rereadability.
And it's very forgotten. I don't see it on Tumblr as much as the
They
actual
hardly
comic.
talk about it on Tumblr. There's hardly any fan art or anything. It's
Reddit
just sort
talks
of
about it more than any other Homestuck community.
When the page comes up, there's a couple hours of Reddit talking about it, and the forums. There's about each page gets like a page and a half on the forums of them talking about it.
So let me ask you about Reddit. Generally, a positive place to learn about Homestuck,
Yes.
or one of those. If you're a new guy, good luck.
I'd say positive.
Positive.
Don't go on as a new guy because it's just full of spoilers. I think for a while Lord English was the sidebar image. But of course, he was also the front page of SPA for a while.
Finish reading the
did
comic,
that.
then go to Reddit. Reddit has a fantastic community. Reddit
It's
and the
in
MSPA
between the
forums.
very serious MSPA forums and the really goofy people on Tumblr. It's a good middle ground.
Good mix.
Yeah.
I would say yes. Reddit's got an amazing community.
They're not
they give
bucket phasers and they're not the morons.
Wait. What's a bucket phaser and what's a moron?
Bucket phase are the people on Tumblr who go a little overboard on shipping the characters and don't know any of the canon stuff. They just make it all up, and they're obsessed with buckets.
Well, that seems to be most of
and
the
then
Tumblr fandom. From
the
what I've
morons
seen.
is the canonical name for the MSPA forum users.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hussey Canonical calls them that.
Caliborn takes over the MSPA, and where it says there used to be a link to forums, it now just says morons. And then Karkat at one point says, the other trolls, their planet was named Bephoris. Who named the planet? And ours was named Alternia. Who named these planets? Some moron? And, of course, those were all named on the forums. There was a forum submission for the names.
So it's an acknowledgement. It's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Specifically, Toby named Alternia. So Hussey's specifically calling Toby a moron.
Who's
there.
Toby?
Toby Radiation.
Oh,
who
Toby
did the
Radiation.
music and the
Okay.
voices.
So the forums are great. Reddit's great. I don't recommend the Tumblr fandom. I bumped into some pretty bad people there.
Well, Tumblr seems to be the area of the internet where people are. It's like the Wild West.
Yeah, Tumblr.
Like you cross somebody on Tumblr and
Yeah.
they're gunning for
Yeah.
you.
I've had Homestuck fans try and kill me.
Every once in a while, it'll be a good way to spread art or news or theories, but as a whole, it's not a good place to spend 100% of your time.
No, and the spelling is atrocious. Why
Yeah.
is the spelling so bad on Tumblr? Is it because the word Tumblr is misspelled?
I
don't
What
know.
is- what is
internet
the-
culture, cats and pizza and
I get
misspelling.
cats, I get pizza, but I don't get the misspelling. I get it if you are using the vernacular like the dog is talking, or Ike has cheeseburger, the cat is talking.
Yeah.
But if it's you talking, I respect the English language, and I don't understand why people want to mess with it. Now I get the visual aesthetic of putting the numbers in place of the letters. Like we're doing that with our
Yeah.
series. I get that. That is calculated. But if you're just misspelling every other single word, and especially your and your, I don't get that.
I
don't
see
know.
a lot of text posts that I can't understand what they're trying to say. Like they're trying to say something important, some social justice
They're
post.
trying to speak to
But
me.
I can't read it because the spelling's so misbad. Like if you're trying to send a message out on Tumblr, at least type it right.
Like imagine if Hussey had done Homestuck in Tumblr vernacular.
Oh,
it would be
boy.
unreadable. And let me, on the side note, those Facebook and Tumblr and Instagram posts where somebody writes either backwards or full of numbers,
Letters.
and then they go, if you can read this, you're among the two.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody can read it, okay? Don't make me try to feel
They're
good
all-
about
every time
myself
I-
for 10 seconds.
Every time I see one of those, there's a little Matuna pasted down below.
I don't get it. Why do people keep sending that out?
If there were millions of Homestuck fans out there reading these troll typing, then we can all read those posts,
Where
okay?
everybody can read it.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's designed for some reason that you need to feel good about yourself for a second, like, I'm special. I can read that post. And it's like, everybody can read it, dude.
That's all of Homestuck. All the trolls have
Yeah.
quirks.
They have what?
Quirks.
Quirks.
That's what it's called when you have a specific
Oh.
typing style. A
Quirks. What's your favorite quirk?
That's a good
Karkats
question.
is the easiest to type.
Yeah,
He
that's the easiest to roleplay
He
with.
just has caps lock on. No. He holds down shift all the time. Sorry.
It's not caps lock. He's shifty look.
Yeah. Caliborn holds down shift all the time, and through some really weird stuff, we found out Andrew Hussey probably does too.
Instead of hitting caps lock?
Yeah, he made a typo where after typing a number, he missed one letter not capitalized. If he had always been in caps lock, it should have been fine. But if the only way for that to have been lowercase is if he let go of shift to hit a number.
Why does it matter what Hussey's typing?
Because there's a whole part of the comic where Caliborn's typing by holding down shift, and in comic Andrew Hussey's yell at him. He's the dumbest kid ever for doing that.
But he does.
So
so
he
you're
does
saying-
it himself,
So you're saying he does that, so he's self-deprecating.
he's joking
yelling-
himself.
Yeah.
and we only know that because of a typo somewhere.
In some, what, like a
In
Twitter post?
Karkat.
Karkat.
Karkat types a number and then one lowercase letter, which means Hussey holds down shift instead of caps lock.
But isn't that indicative of most of the comic that he's using his own foibles,
He's
his own
a
quirks
lot of jokes
to
we don't
further?
get.
Yeah, I mean they're all
Yeah.
they're literally inside jokes,
Yeah.
meaning he's the only one that gets them. There's not even anybody else inside the joke but him.
Yeah, he's the only one who
Sometimes
gets
Toby
this
Fox
stuff.
is included.
Why is that interesting?
I don't know. There's pages and pages of Wizard E. Herbert stuff, and he says, "Please don't read it. That's my thing."
Yeah, in the comic, the characters talk about Wizardy Horbot. If you're a new reader and have never read Hussey's Wizardy Horbot thing, and that's most people, these 5 pages of the comic will make no sense to
Austin,
you.
you've never read Wizard E. Herbert.
It didn't make any sense to me. I skipped it. I didn't know what was happening. Like, I don't get it. For 5 pages, Waxy picks up... It literally
Hussy's
took...
writing style works in a little narration with pictures, but when he tries to write a full 200-page novel, it loses coherency at some point.
Seriously, though, on my first read-through, when Waxy picked up the Wizardy Hobbit fanfiction and read it, I had no idea what was happening.
It's like Mindfang's journal. You hit skip a few times, then you come back and realize how important it was.
Like, on my first read-through, I didn't know what was happening. Like, what is this weird wizard thing he's reading? It doesn't make any sense. How is this going to be important to the plot?
And then now it is. Just now.
Just
It
now.
is important to the plot.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Wizardy Herbert.
Wizardy Herbert. And you enjoy this.
Yeah. we talked about it on one of the first few episodes.
Yeah,
it's
we
been
did.
a while.
But it's like that's like an issue, a Lemony Snicket, where a series of unfortunate events is difficult to read because it really is one terrible thing after another. It's always cold. It's always wet. Everybody's a jerk. And at one point I remember reading where he's like, I'm going to go on for 3 pages on some recipe for some awful dessert. And if you want to skip ahead, if you want to skip ahead, go to page so-and-so where I'll stop talking about it. So I couldn't do it, but it turns out like after a paragraph or two, he starts giving you really amazing information. But he's counting on you being so bored to tears that you'll move forward, and that seems to be what this is.
That's what the Mindfang's journal is. In it, Vriska finds a journal of her ancestors' writing, and it's this long speech that Hussy purposely wrote bad. He wrote it as a spoof of the fandom's fan fiction. And it's just this. It's so hard to read. It's so bad.
So boring,
it's all
so
in.
bad.
It's all in Vriska's quirk, so it's even hard to read.
And it's just awful.
And then you get to the Doc Scratch segment at the end of the act where he's like trying to explain the ancestors to you. And then the explanation doesn't make any sense unless you read the journal.
So it forces you to go and read it.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel like your time is being wasted? Or is it like, no, this is part of the amazing journey?
It's important.
It's important.
Plus, the ancestors' lives mirror the trolls' lives. So if you understand what's happening with the ancestors, you can kind of predict what was going to happen with the trolls.
It goes
on this whole thing about how Terezi's ancestor Mindfang was tricking Marquise Mindfang and Radglare. I don't know. Then it makes sense in the end.
But don't you spend a lot of time prophesizing what's going to happen next based on these avenues of hints and intuition?
Yeah, this is the weird stuff.
How accurate are you, if ever?
Okay, I'm gonna say why now. Luna always comes up with a theory after the updates, before BYB is actually typed out as giant theory post that spreads around Tumblr. You're right every time.
Most of the time. I've been wrong a few times toward the end of the Gigapods. I got a few things wrong.
Well, how are we supposed to predict the end?
Nepeta didn't come back.
Yeah,
I felt big time there. Schrodinger's cat didn't happen.
There was a lot of setup for that, though.
There was.
And Hussy's took such a weird spin. Nothing makes sense
anymore. The Vriska thing was
too
obvious for anyone to guess.
Yeah, and the whole thing of all 2 years of stuff is inaccurate was a poor writing decision.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But, yeah, we're during the Gigapause, Hussy released 3 or 4 Sweet Bro comics. We're still picking those apart because those are the secret to the end of the comic. We can figure out what they mean.
And you're talking about literally the dumbest part.
Yes.
The 2 dummies who were a parody made to make fun of somebody.
One of them had a payoff. It showed Hella Jeff fishing in a pond with a net. He accidentally drops his net, and it falls into a clam. In the comic, the girl who's based off spiders, like a spider web, a net, fell in love with the girl who's based off clams. The clam and the net came together.
The clam and the net.
It's symbolic.
Who dropped Sweet Bro or Hella Jeff?
Hella Jeff drops his net into a clam, and the girl based off spider webs and the girl based off clams fell in love.
Who put this together?
That was the Reddit that finally made the connection there. I don't know the user exactly.
Now, give me your reaction when you read that.
I was amazed. Like it actually meant something.
Yeah.
The clam because the clam took
Ate the
net.
The
net web woman and the clam girl
are in love.
Oh my God.
The next page was this clam smiling really weirdly. We're still waiting for someone to smile like that. We haven't done it yet.
Like the clam.
Yes. And then there was another one where they're doing Sherlock Holmes, and the big plot twist at the end of the mystery was he was looking. So now we're still waiting for someone the big twist at the end of Homestuck to be he was looking. We don't know who was looking at what.
Looking or looking?
Yeah. Lukind.
It's Lukind in the comic.
Luking.
It means looking.
Oh my god.
They do this whole mystery, and the plot twist at the end was Sweet Bro actually was watching Hella Jeff the whole time. He was looking. He knew it from the start.
And that's the twist.
That's the twist. We think it's either something very meta, like someone knew that they've been in a webcomic the whole time.
This
They
is a
were
great
already
way to segue,
they were
yeah.
already looking at Hussey, or something like Gamzee was hidden somewhere in the first act looking at John the whole time.
All
And
right.
this is a great way to segue into one of our other topics.
Which one?
The Ultimate Whittle.
The Ultimate Riddle. This is your thing. I'm gonna switch seats with you. This is your thing.
Okay.
Is this what you've been talking about all week?
Yes.
The ultimate riddle?
I went on a giant rant to you about this, and you said say it for the podcast, so I'm going to say it for the podcast.
All right, everybody,
Here we go.
hang on.
The first part of this, I'm going to require a lot of Luna's help because they were the one who thought of this theory and put it together, and I have more to add on to it. The Ultimate Whittle.
Yeah.
And that's mainly, it's actually...
Well, it's pretty much the one some of the fandom admits.
Yeah, some of the fandom admits it. I think we all secretly know
Everyone
it.
secretly knows it and doesn't want to admit it because it'd be such a kind of a cop-out ending, but at the same time, it's in vain with the comic.
It's not a cop-out ending. It's the best you can do, okay? It's the only way to end Homestuck happily, which is what
Yeah.
you talked about in the last one of the last
Yeah,
episodes. So, the Ultimate Whittle is the ultimate reward of beating the video game Suburban Homestuck. When you beat the game, not only do you get a new universe as far as we can tell, but you get to know the ultimate whittle of all of existence in life. Now, no one knows what this means. All we know is that Carcat found it out.
Carcat knows and Clover knows.
They're the only characters in Homestuck that know. Now, we don't know what it is, though. Now,
We don't even know the question.
Carcat, whenever asked about in any of
This
Act
is,
5, quickly puts it aside and acts nervous, saying it's some flowery, poetic stuff that doesn't matter, and it's dumb and useless. Which means it's really important in Homestuck language.
In Homestuck it means it's super important.
Now, the Ultimate Whittle, so a BYB has convinced everybody that it is a Sweet Boy reference that also relates to real life.
Yeah. He says that it's, we're doing this, bro, we're making this happen. Which is what Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff do as they try to hug each other, and they just morph together. It doesn't work. So he thinks the entire Ultimate Riddle is making this happen. If you truly believe, it doesn't matter what Destiny says, it doesn't matter how your future's planned out, you can make it happen.
But the problem is that isn't the message of Homestuck.
No.
Homestuck is a meta webcomic about webcomics. We've seen Caliborn, what he's done, and how he's puppeteering the kids and controlling them with Homosuck. The plot of Homestuck and the Ultimate Whittle is that you're in a webcomic. That's the Ultimate Whittle. Realizing you're nothing but a fictional character inside this webcomic. And, like, what do you think?
It's hard for me to even understand what you're talking about. You're talking about, basically, in real life terms, the ultimate riddle is, why am I here?
Yeah. The answer, life,
universe,
and everything.
Right. Why? It's 12.
42.
42? Level 42?
Yeah.
That's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But listen, everybody wants to know why they're here. Everybody wants to know what their purpose is. So is that the ultimate riddle? Or is Hussey just at the end going to go, yeah, the ultimate riddle, he's going to pull something out of Batman Forever?
Yeah. Well, Carcat's known since Act 5.
That's the thing. This
Before the
leads into
comic
my
even
theory.
got launched off into what it's become. Really early on in the comic, Carcat says he already knows it.
And here's the thing.
Not only knows the riddle, he knows the answer. He knows everything.
Carcat said he knows the answer. And this leads into my theory. Well, wait a second. If Carcat knows the ultimate riddle, doesn't that mean he knows he's in a webcomic? That's what I think. Carcat knows he's in a webcomic.
If your theory is correct, yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of proof here, so let's get going.
My favorite proof about this whole thing is that if Carcat knows the whole time he's been in a webcomic, then the big plot twist of the end was he was looking.
Right.
Which is the Sweet Boy payoff.
Okay.
And
that's your theory, Luna.
And
he was looking is a reference to the ultimate riddle. That's my theory.
A couple of things to point out is that Carcat acts very weird near the end of Act 5, which is pretty much all we get to see him after we saw him all through Hive Bet in Act 5. And after we found out the ultimate riddle, all we get to see is a few chats with Jade, and then it cuts off and you get so many pages of the Alpha Kids, and then a little tiny bit on the media, which isn't even canon anymore. You have to remember, when you talk about what Carcat's like in canon, the end of Act 5 chats he had with Jade, which was conveniently cut off when the Homestuck disc broke. It's like Hussey didn't want us to see Carcat at that point. Because the Carcat story arc was broken. The disc to Homestuck was physically broken. Because Homestuck exists as a meta disc in the universe, and it broke. And because it broke, we missed the Carcat segment and had to jump ahead. Why would we jump ahead? There had to be something important. But the thing is, this Carcat segment, what we got to see was that he was talking with Jade right before the disc broke. And Jade finds the fourth wall, which is a physical fourth wall entity in Homestuck. And if you look inside of it, you see Andrew Hussey. Jade is about to turn this on and see Andrew Hussey and realize what we believe is the ultimate riddle. But before she does, Carcat contacts her, and this is the quote. If you look in there, you will find a truth about life more damaging to the integrity of the universe than a creature that turns imagination into pure void. And this was just discussed on Reddit. That's why I'm talking about this.
That sounds like Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, this is only pages after Hussey rode around on the Never-Ending Story dragon and barfed on bullies.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that, and I'm telling you, it's never... The nothingness destroyed Fantasia. That's the plot of Never-Ending Story.
It's also Lord Inglis, thousands of pages before, he showed up. Lord Inglis is, from what we've seen, destroying the dream bubbles, a creature that turns imagination into pure void.
Lord English is cracking the comic, which is turning Hussey's imagination into just void nothing.
And turning imagination into pure void could also refer to Callie, couldn't it? The fact that he's killing Calliope.
Remember when Lord English cracks the world and we see the reflection in Dave's glasses? And then remember that his glasses in Problem Sleuth are existence.
They're the universe. Now, Carcat is basically saying that if Jade looks in the wall and sees Andrew Hussey, the things he finds out about life is more threatening to the existence of the webcomic of Homestuck than Lord Inglis.
Yeah.
And looking at that quote, you can pretty much already confirm that Carcat knows some serious meta stuff. Okay? He knows more than any other character by that quote. And that quote is so easily unskippable.
Yeah.
And another thing people are going to bring up is why doesn't he mention it again? But we don't really see Carcat again.
No.
The disc breaks, like I said, we skip the whole Carcat Jade arc and jump to the Meteor, which isn't canon anymore, and we hardly even see him in the Meteor. He argues with Dave.
We only didn't see the fixed screen. Don't blame Terezi for scratching the disc. Blame Doc Scratch for fixing it. Because there's a thing, one line in the comic where Doc Scratch says he loves playing pranks. And he's never played a prank in the comics, so everyone thinks he's going to get some huge payoff where all the tables are turned, Doc Scratch comes back alive, and he's pulled this giant prank on the comic for years. But really, he's already done it. That payoff was when Hussey beats him up, and he pulls the disc out of his coat and said, "This smug little puppet, he fixed the disc hours ago. We could have been back to the comic so long ago." Because Doc Scratch was pranking us into thinking the disc was broken.
Yeah.
So that we would skip the section that revealed Lord English's weakness and the true ultimate riddle and all that.
That's his prank. He already fixed it, but he wouldn't want us to view the rest of the comic because we would have gone back to Carcat and Jade talking about their meta existence.
Carcat and Jade talking, and then Jade's talk with her denizen, then we'd already know the ultimate riddle, we'd already know probably the answer to the ultimate riddle, and we'd know whatever Lord English's weakness is. Which is the Juju. We don't find out, 4,000 more pages after that?
Yeah, because he also tricks us because right after that, we go into the Alpha Kids, 3,000 pages of goofiness introducing new characters.
Yeah, we're just now in Act 6 getting back to the plot.
Yeah, you have to remember all this stuff from the end of Act 5 now, because it's going to be super relevant.
Lord kills Hussey, and that technically kills plot development for a while.
Literally. It literally kills plot development in the comic.
Yeah.
But what happens when a character discovers the ultimate riddle? If the ultimate riddle is what's the meaning of life, and the answer is here's the meaning of life, then you have two choices. The first is what we talked about before of escaping it a hostile.
Yeah.
Or the second is Neo, where when Neo finally realizes what the Matrix is, he suddenly has total control over every element there. Which are you hoping for?
Well, the second already happened.
Clover, right?
Caliborn.
Yeah, Caliborn.
We didn't really go God tier. Let's establish that right now. Caliborn did not really go God tier. He's lying about the skeleton key. He did discover the ultimate riddle. Something he knows he's in a webcomic because he's read Homestuck.
And he took over the MSPA server.
And he's taken over the MSPA server and wrote his own Homestuck comic. So, yes, he has discoveries in a webcomic and taken control of the whole system. even above Andrew Hussy's head. He's gone over his head and is writing his own comic.
So he figured out the Ultimate Widow is taking full control.
Yeah.
And Clover, the member of the Felt, back in Act 3, there's a scene where Spade Slick is opening the vault, and he looks back at Clover, and Clover is flipping out like the Weasel King from Palm Sleuth. And apparently he found out the Ultimate Widow at that moment, but it was never explained for a solid 9,000 pages.
What's this dude flipping out about? Nothing important. You beat him up anyway.
He says he babbles something about the Ultimate Widow, and that's it. And then 9,000 pages later, John retcons that Midnight Crew moment, zaps into the comic, Clover looks at it.
Clover looks at John and then starts flipping out. Here we are, 4.5 years later, finally finding out what he was looking at.
So when Clover saw John retcon the comic, he figured out that he's nothing but a fictional character.
Yeah.
And figured out the Ultimate Riddle.
Clover's power is he knows the Ultimate Riddle. That's when he found the answer, I think.
Yeah.
Clover's just supposed to give you the question. That's his deal. He gives out the Ultimate Riddle.
Yeah.
Do you want to find out the Ultimate Riddle? Do you want it spelled out for you in the comic, or do you want it to be sort of a hazy thing that you get to make? Is it ambiguous? You make your own choices.
I want it to be explained because I want there to be
have it literally spelled out like the end of Hitchhikers. You remember how the last book ended?
How did it end?
They went up on a hill and just written out giant on the hill. They said, "Well, God got tired of us looking for the answer, so he just wrote it down. There it is." And they all go, "Oh, that makes sense," and then walk off and it ends.
Would that make you happy though?
I would only be
because
happy.
Because look at what happened with Lost. Lost went out of its way to explain nearly every single plot point, and when it ended, people were still confused, and those that weren't confused were like, "That's it?
Yeah,
that's the explanation."
Yeah.
It's like when you find out how a magic trick is done, it loses all of its magic. It just becomes, "Oh, I was tricked."
Yeah.
You know, which do you want Homestuck to end?
I want the Ultimate Riddle to be said so we can have the giant battle we talked about a few episodes ago, where it would be outside of the comic. And that's the only... Just because that's the only epic way to end Homestuck.
Into such a corner that he can't have a good ending without showing the Ultimate Riddle. That has to be the big climax. He's ran out of things to do.
Because there's so much setup.
It's become so grand that that's the only place to go.
There's a lot of setup. The finale is going to be a big Lord English boss fight flash, but he said directly he wasn't want to do that. That'd be boring. It's just like Prom Sleuth.
He said that'd be too much like Prom Sleuth. Prom Sleuth was about 50% of the comic was leading up to it all. They're getting out of their offices and they finally meet the big mobster guy. Then he turns into a boss battle and gets a big health bar. He doesn't die for like 900 more pages. Like over 50% of the comic is the boss fight.
Yeah.
The final battle is longer than any other part of the comic.
So that's like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like the sword fight at the end is longer than anything should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just get to it.
So Hussey said he doesn't want a grand Lord English.
In an early interview on Homestuck, he didn't want to end it like that. The final battle is going to be just one or two big flash pages and that's it. It's all about the characterization leading up to it that's more important.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, it's one thing to, like in Independence Day, blow up the White House, and then you blow up all the spaceships. But the most satisfying parts are being reunited with your children, saving your dog, you know. Those are the quiet moments that make even a noisy film like Armageddon so exciting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to find, yes, you have spectacle, but it's usually more satisfying the human element part, because you and I cannot relate to blowing up an asteroid, but we can relate to seeing somebody we haven't seen in a while and all the emotions that brings. Exactly, the end of Con Air.
Con Air didn't climax on the big battle in the junkyard. It ended on him reuniting with his family.
Yeah, you can crash a plane down the Vegas Strip and somehow hit Hard Rock off the Strip. That's not my problem. But yeah, it's all superfluous because it's just noise. We are really waiting for Cameron Poe to get back to his child and to hand her that stupid bunny that we've invested an hour and a half in getting safely into her arms. Which at the end is what, just a head, right?
Yeah.
And Hook did it too. The final battle was okay, but him reuniting with his kids was the
finale.
Oh, right,
moment.
Hook ends on a downer.
Yeah.
Hook ends with Captain Hook standing there without his wig, looking completely like a fossil, and they don't even do him in. The crocodile falls on him and he vanishes, and it's like, it's about his kids. It's about Peter Pan and his children. I forgot. You know, that's what it is, right?
Because It'd be,
if Star Wars had ended with them flying away from the Death Star blowing up, we would have been excited. But the payoff is Luke gets his medal, and R2 and 3PO are restored, and Han's now joining the rebellion, and all of the things that send the story off into a new direction are what's exciting, right?
Yeah.
So finding out the ultimate riddle won't be satisfying. It will be what the characters then do with that information.
Imagine if Back to the Future had ended with Doc celebrating in the streets and it just faded to black.
Oh, I know. It'd be terrible. I know, right? We need to see Marty get back to his family.
Yeah.
Even though it could have ended there. Because
everything made sense. It was all tidied up.
Marty goes back. Doc's a changed man for having met Marty for the first time in the 50s, blah, 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 blah. But the payoff is Biff waxing the car, George is an author, Lorraine's not a drunk, Dave has a suit, not working at Burger King, and Linda has guys calling her. So everybody wins in Back to the Future, but it's important because we've invested time worrying about their fates, right?
Yeah.
That's how Husty said that this Homestuck, he wanted Homestuck to end.
So at the end of Homestuck, whose story arc will you be most interested in seeing how it turns out?
Carcat
if he doesn't end up dead. I don't know how you make that guy happy.
But didn't they kill Carcat once?
Yeah,
Wasn't he lying in a pool of blood and you guys were traumatized?
He's died twice in the past year, but that's all been a retcon now. That never happened.
That didn't happen.
But when it did happen, you were like wrecked.
Yes, because Hussey always leaves stuff around. There's always a way to revive him. Carcat fell into lava and was boiled alive. There was no surviving.
Yeah.
0% chance of ever coming back.
I was a bit baffled by why he did that, because
now we know.
I feel like Carcat has to be the last Beta Troll to die.
Sound Game Over happened, where he killed every single character in the comic in such a way they couldn't be revived. Just because he knew, I'm gonna retcon in a while. Let's just make the fans as angry as possible before.
Same with Kanaya. Like, you can't bring Kanaya back.
Yeah.
Well, that's like in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, when word got out that they were going to kill Spock, people were outraged. They were angry, like, you cannot kill Spock, even though Leonard Nimoy wanted to kill Spock and was okay with it. So they came up with the idea of killing him at the beginning in the Kobayashi Maru simulator. And then by the time we get to the end, the audience has forgotten about that rumor, and when Spock takes off for the engine room, suddenly you realize, oh, they're gonna kill him, and they told you at the beginning. You knew going in he was gonna die, but you forgot because they tricked you.
Yeah.
So maybe Hussey's got to, I mean, if you're gonna steal, you steal from the best.
Homestuck operates on some sort of constants and variables, not as much as other time travel things do, but it does sort of panel-wise. He redraws panels in each timeline. There's almost every alternate timeline, there's a shot of Carcat and Terezi laying dead next to each other, like they died in each other's arms. That's never happened in the canon timeline. We're still afraid that moment's gonna happen.
You're waiting for it.
Yeah.
But
you're like Anakin when he gets images of Padme dying, and he's like, I must save Padme. But then by saving Padme, he kills Padme. Oh, the irony!
But
no!
I think he's tricking us. I think it's going to be two different characters in that same position.
Yeah. Because it doesn't necessarily be the same characters. Class and aspect could work too. It could easily be Dave and Rose, and it's still a Knight player and a Seer player. And
you guys have to understand the rule of writing in any form is that if the audience is ahead of you in what's going to happen, you've lost. So
everybody's guessed Carcat and Terezi are going to die in each other's arms, like in the Doom timeline.
So you have to change it, and like Austin said, make it two different characters in the same pose.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way you make it. I mean, that's how you do it. That's just good writing.
See, this is what Hussey does. Now you're expecting it to happen to two different characters in the same pose. So it's going to be Carcat and Terezi anyway.
But that's like saying...
that's what you do with Flisca.
He's done it twice.
But that's like when the villain hands you cognac and you're like, I'm not drinking this because I know it's poison. I'm switching with you. But I'm not going to switch with you because I know that you poisoned yours and not mine. So I'm going to drink mine, and you drink it and you drop dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Hussey's done that before.
Yeah. Of course he has, because Hussey is one handlebar mustache shy of being a villain in Dudley Do-Right. I'm killing all your favorite characters.
John's going back to get the ring, the MacGuffin of the comic, and we're all the fans like, it's not going to be there. The ring's not going to be there. Why would it be there? It's never that easy. And then we're thinking, what if it is that easy this time? Hussey's tricking us. It really is going to be there.
No, it can't
John
be that
goes there,
easy.
the ring's gone. The narration
But-
just says, wow, it's gone. What a shock.
But with how far Hussey's been writing in advance lately, what if he wasn't contradicting or contradicting, but just wrote it because that's how the plot's supposed to go? Because the wing can't be there. If the wing was there, then the whole comic would go wide.
But
The
no,
wing
because
can't be
There
there.
was no reason. At that point, it wasn't revealed that the ring was gone, so...
But
it
if
was
John
a
had got the
little bit of a
wing,
twist.
he would have found Callie, given it to her, and the comic would be saved. It doesn't make any...
He's had the ring for months and still hasn't given it to her. He gave it to Roxy. She's
Yeah.
gonna drop it somewhere.
Does
Oh,
Roxy know it's important?
Yeah. She knows it can bring... the ring is, if you wear it, it brings you back to life. Of course, it's also visually completely identical to the Ring of Void. There's a Ring of Life and a Ring of Void. The Ring of Void turns you invisible. The Ring of Life brings you back from the dead.
We never
Yeah.
see them together.
You're veering quite clearly into Lord of the Rings
Yes.
territory, let me tell you.
That's confirmed when Tavros wants the ring and he says, "My precious."
Oh, give me a break.
I would just like to point out...
Don't you at that point yell, hack, stealing?
I would just like to point out one of the most predictable things of the comic is
Is for it to
that...
fall in the volcano?
Yes, everybody's
With
fighting...
the ring.
Everybody in the comic is at the volcano area fighting for this wing. It's gonna fall in
Yeah,
there.
come on, that's
They're
plagiarism.
at the lip of a volcano fighting over the ring, and everyone was just sitting around like, "Oh, it's gonna drop any update now," and it hasn't yet.
Come on, that's Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
man.
It's a
That's
weapon.
not even subtle.
That
you got-
wouldn't destroy it.
Well, of course it would. It's Lord of the Rings.
Earlier, a magic 8-ball with the Genesis frog in it fell into the lava, and it was just revealed it's still alive. It just sunk down through the lava to the pit of the earth.
Another
Not the
thing
earth,
from
the
that
Loath.
Cockhat Jade Arc that's important again that we missed with Dark Squats.
The denizens at the bottom of the volcano.
The frog.
The
Yeah.
frog. The Genesis frog is the frog that will eventually become the kid's universe when they win the game. She dropped in the volcano in Cascade, but where it came from is when Jade was a kid, the frog teleported in front of her and then died. Well, later in the comic, they get the ectobiology machine. So she she looks at a machine that allows you to look back in time, scan the frog, and then create a new clone of it.
Okay.
So and then that new clone fell into the lava.
That would be very convenient to have.
Yeah.
To save characters from dying. The ultimate 3D printer is what that is.
And we still don't know who put the original frog there. All we know is when Jade was a kid, a frog appeared in front of her and then died, and is now one of the MacGuffins of the comic.
But that's the same kind of stuff in Adventure Time, where Finn keeps losing his arm over and over again.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting for the other shoe
Remember
to drop.
when Betty mysteriously appeared, and then 3 seasons later, we found out that she mysteriously appeared to appear in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
well,
was
yeah.
weird.
Betty vanished from Ice King's past
Into the future.
into the present.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what?
Mhm.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
My head hurts.
Roxy uses that machine once to take a scarf off Rose, and we haven't seen the scarf disappear, right? We don't even know what Rose it was.
Yeah.
Just at some point, a Rose in some universe lost her scarf.
If you could go back in time and save one person from dying, who would you save?
They're all alive right now.
Luna, who would you save? A real person.
Oh, real
You could
person.
open
Oh, I
up
think
a
you meant a
time
Homestuck
rift
character. Okay.
and save someone.
Oh,
Who would you
God.
save?
I don't know.
I don't
would you
know.
be selfish and save someone you love?
You gotta say
Or
someone
would you-
important to the
Would it be
Earth.
someone important to
You'd have
the
to
world?
say someone important.
Someone who was cut short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would that be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't pick that.
Or along the same lines, you could pull someone who died in the past into the present.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you could pull Einstein from the past
Mm-hmm.
into present day, first he would chastise you for messing with the space-time continuum, interstellar style. But, like, who would you want to pick?
I
Because
don't know.
I just read a book where a guy goes back in time and saves Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that the universe literally starts collapsing on itself because he has changed history. So let's take that out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to unravel the space-time continuum.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you go back and say, who needs to see present day in order to facilitate change? Or is it selfish reasons?
I don't know.
I
What
don't
do you
know.
think?
That's a really hard
boy.
question.
That's a philosophical. Well, the reason I ask is your Homestuck characters are faced with this on a daily basis through the machinations of Andrew Hussey. She had to go back in time and create that clone of that frog. And you're saying it as if it's a throw. Well, she cloned the frog so it could be alive. And I'm saying that she played God for a moment.
Yeah.
And what would you do if you had that power? What would you do?
You know this sort of happened in canon, right?
No.
John had to go back to bring Vriska and keep her alive.
Yeah, John retconning. He has the ring that can bring anyone back to life, and retcon abilities that allow him to rewrite any section of the comic he wants. He can play God any way he wants.
Ultimate power.
He could literally just warp to Lourdes as a baby, kill him, comic ends.
Or warp to John, takes a bulb away from him, the world never ends. The
John
comic
never played Suburb, and that's it.
The comic never happened. The video game was
Homestuck
never put
Act
in.
1, John sits around his house, comic ends.
So who's it to be?
Oh God! Right.
You can be selfish. There's in
I don't know.
Philosophical question like this, there's no right answer. You know, but remember, whatever you do, think about who you're bringing. Like, okay, it's easy to say.
What about-
I would bring Abraham Lincoln.
What about
But, you know,
Walt Disney?
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney's a good one.
What would Walt Disney do if he suddenly appeared at the end of Main Street? First, he'd be mobbed, and second, would he be ecstatic that the park is still there and still so amazing, or would he be like, what is this Star Wars crap? This isn't us.
No, he'd still on DCA. He'd target DCA.
Oh, yeah, you know, you're totally right. He'd walk over and they'd go, oh my God, it's Walt Disney. He'd go, shut it down. Lock the gates, we're starting over. Bulldozers in.
You go. It's just a whole park of tourist shops and non-themed attractions.
Yeah, exactly.
And carnival games.
Carnival
He
games.
hates carnival games.
Yeah.
Because you can lose.
Right, yeah, he didn't want that crap at Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, his creed was send them home with money so they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's shake them at the gate and get all the coins and make sure you got every penny.
Yeah.
So Walt Disney,
I'd
huh?
say Walt Disney's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody else? Anybody else of note? You know, I know that you're not into history the way...
I'm not that into history.
Yeah, you're not that into history, right? Steve Jobs?
He's died too recently.
But he was gone at the height of his creativity.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
At the height of his creativity.
Please leave the mic.
And through no fault of his own. You know? Like, what would you do if you found out, like, the whole eastern seaboard is blanketed in what was supposed to be a massive snowstorm last night? Didn't materialize, except where? Boston. Who lives in Boston?
Everyone.
All the
Andrew
webcomic
Hussey?
artists.
Hussey, Casey Green,
What would you
Bowman,
do if you
Toby,
found out?
IPD.
What would you do if you found out Andrew Hussey had died in the snowstorm?
God.
And
God.
he'd left 5 or 6 pages behind, but you don't know if he's going to wrap it up. Would you want it to end on a blank note, or would you want somebody to step in and finish it?
Wyatt North would step in and finish
I'd
it.
say Ryan North could do it.
You would pass the mantle to Ryan North.
Probably had most of it told to him. He's probably the go-to guy when Hussey needs to vent off some comic.
Let's hope those guys are in the snowstorm listening to 91 Reasons, and at that point Hussey looks over at North, who's chopping celery, and raises a knife. Hussey goes, don't even think about it, pal.
You don't understand how badly Wyatt North watched the White Homestuck.
He would just take it over, right? He would just take it over. Like, if I'm gone, would you keep 91 Reasons, or you just go, well, we did that and now we're moving on?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just want you to think deeply about the way the comic so callously treats death and so flippantly. That character died 3 times, and now they're back. In the real world, death is one time, and you don't get a do-over. And that's interesting, that if you got a do-over, what would you do with it? So I ask the readers of Reddit, on the thread for this episode, who would you bring back from the dead? And what would you expect their reaction to be? Like I said, if you brought Abraham Lincoln back and deposited him right now, he would be convinced that the world is full of witchcraft. You've got a little box in your hand that can talk to people and watch images from all over the world. You know, the world is a bizarre place. I would bring back Tesla.
Yeah.
You know, we know what Edison did, but what if we brought back Tesla and said, "Hey, dude, what have you got for us?" How amazing would that be?
Yeah.
I'm losing my voice. All right, so on Reddit, we're asking you, who are you on Reddit? Become Imp is going to moderate a thread of who would you bring back from the dead.
And also give us thoughts about the ultimate riddle, what you think it
That
is.
was another good one.
What is the ultimate riddle?
Is it something meta? Is it a will meaning
Real
of life?
life lesson.
You're aware in The Hobbit that Gollum and Bilbo engage in a riddle game.
A riddle game?
A riddle game?
Yeah, that's how Bilbo gets the ring. He defeats Gollum in the riddle game.
What's the riddle game?
What's the
They
riddle game?
they give riddles to each other.
Ah.
Oh.
And the riddles are like, it's one of those one where Gollum is like, yeah, I kill kings and destroy mountains, and I do this, this, and this. What am I? And Bilbo can't figure it out, and he's doomed.
What is that? Greed?
No, he goes, hold on, time. Like he
time.
needs more
That's a good
time, and
one.
Gollum's like, that's the answer, you know. And then Bilbo gives him one where he's like, a box without hinges, a box with no lid, yet golden treasures inside her hid. And it turns out it's an egg, and Gollum gets it. And then Bilbo defeats him by giving him the ultimate riddle that doesn't have an answer. What's in my pocket?
Oh.
And Gollum's like, I don't know what's in your pocket. He's like, well, that's the riddle. And while Gollum's thinking about it, Bilbo slips away. So maybe the ultimate riddle is something stupid. Maybe it's something innocuous. Maybe it's not this big grand. I mean, we want it to be. Don't we want things to be big and grand?
Well, the joke is that it keeps being big and grand. Anytime the ultimate riddle appears in the comic, it's bolded or as a gif where it shakes around, like
Right.
breaking the text.
But look at what Hitchhiker did. They turned it as a goof, and they gave you an
Yeah.
answer,
But-
and then they had
yeah.
to spend the rest of the millennium looking for the question.
Carcat, when describing the ultimate riddle, says it's a flowery and poetic, dumb, cliche meaning of life that's typical at the end of a video game. It isn't worth
And he's
mowing up.
either right or he's hiding something.
He's most likely hiding something, because it would be a real disappointment if it's just a generic video
Carcat's
game
character
ending.
says he's probably hiding something.
Well, look what Rowling did in Harry Potter. When it finally came time for a riddle, the Sphinx gave the riddle we've known forever. What walks on 4 legs in the morning,
Yeah.
2 legs in the afternoon, and 3 at night? Like, really? That's like so old. I mean, I get that it's in character because that's the riddle that the Sphinx gives in.
Yeah.
Is it a hippogriff?
That's the Sphinx.
The Sphinx
It's
does
the
it in the
Sphinx.
book, right?
It's in the 4th book.
Yeah, in
not
the
movie.
in the Goblin. It's not in the movie, right?
No.
And you know what else isn't in the movie? Not to digress, but that patch where he runs out and suddenly he's about to fall into the sky.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that in the movie.
Yeah, that would have been better as a movie. It was
Yeah,
weird in the
because
book.
it takes a few readings to even understand what you're saying, but that's
Yeah.
indicative of Harry Potter and of Homestuck,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, any last words? We're gonna sign off for another
What
week.
you think of the ultimate riddle, you know? I think it has a meta meaning. There's
Yeah.
so much build up with Carcat knowing this.
We didn't get to anything on our list.
Next week we're an hour in. I
Yeah.
think the ultimate riddle is what ships does Austin ship when he ships the ships that he ships?
Yeah. Remember the Take On Me episode when we talked about that?
Yes.
Doesn't that lead into the ultimate riddle? Because
Well,
the
yeah,
video of Take On Me?
every character, every living being's ultimate riddle, every sentient living being who is aware of their own thoughts and not just shelter and food and run, is why am I here? Everybody wants to know why we're here.
And Take On Me is about a character from a fictional book coming to life
right,
and then going in
and
it.
every major story character that you like has gone on a journey to figure out why am I here. Harry Potter does because he's born into death. His life begins when his parents die. So he sets off on a journey. Why am I here? Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
Simba. I mean, isn't that every major stupid character says, why am I here? Who's my dad? And what am I going to do with my life?
And so far, that's what, as far as we can tell,
Yeah.
conformed Clover and Caliborn.
Well,
And it's ironic that when
And-
Caliborn figures out that he's in a comic, he draws himself in the Take On Me style.
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that because that's basic storytelling. There's nothing wrong with going back to the originals because when you break the norm and try to tell a different story, a lot of times they fail. A lot of times, if it's not done the way we in our brains want it to be done, it does fail. I mean, that's just the nature of drama. You know, there are only a dozen plots, right, with the Shakespeare plot. So,
Oh, Shakespeare. I was trying to find a way to chime in. We're gonna end the episode soon, I know, and I want to say something that won't be relevant next week.
go ahead. It's your
Tomorrow-
show.
Tomorrow, or I guess late tonight if you stay up long enough, is the release of To Be or Not to Be by Ryan North on Steam.
Yes.
Please buy it and support it so that hopefully Hussey will see that Steam's a good thing to host on, so we'll get Homestuck.
So
Because Steam games come with trading cards, emoticons, profile backgrounds, and a special community forum on Steam. And that'd be great if we can get that for Homestuck.
And this game is written by Ryan North, with drawings by Andrew Hussey and all the Paradox Space authors.
Ryan North got together everyone from Paradox Space, everyone from Adventure Time, and every webcomic artist he knows to do little art for this.
How long has he been working on this game? Do you know?
It was a book. And he wrote, about a year and a half, I think?
It was the most successful indie Kickstarter book.
It was the best indie Kickstarter ever done. It came out as a book early last year. And now he's adapted it into an interactive game. It's pretty much just an audio book, but because it's a choose-your-own-adventure book, there's clickable things, and he's added new Easter eggs and stuff. We'll find out when it comes out.
Now you're gonna buy this tonight or tomorrow.
Tonight or tomorrow, whenever it comes out.
And so next week we'll do a big review on it.
Yeah.
Because I mean you'll probably play through it in a few days.
I'll play through most of it.
Yeah.
It's a choose-your-own-adventure, so it's gonna be a while to.
Hey.
I'll have to get a piece of paper and write down all the possible.
I'm gonna buy it too.
I was gonna say, are you both buying it or are you sharing?
I'm gonna buy it because I've made enough money off virtual hats from the video game Team Fortress 2 that I can buy this game.
All right. And what's the percentage that the creators get on Steam? $10 game. How much does Steam get?
I don't know.
Probably 60-40, I imagine.
Yeah, and this is really weird because it's a company dealing with Ryan North and through Steam, and it's got all these guest artists who worked on it. I don't know how he has the pay set up. It's all really weird.
I would imagine if they're a bunch of friends that they just donated their work, or he paid them and whatever. You know, Hussey probably did this for Taco Bell, right?
A lot of you also get the Steam trading cards. You can get for playing the game. For every hour you play the game, you get a card, and you can only get like 5 out of 9 cards most of the time. You trade to get the rest. You can also buy and sell them on the marketplace. Every time there's a transaction, like 2% goes to the creators and 3% goes to Valve. So they make money every time a card. Every 7-cent card is sold, Ryan North pockets 2 or 3 pennies.
So that can be very lucrative if it turns into a big trading community.
A lot of indie games say as big as their game gets, 1 to 2% of complete revenue is just from trading cards on Steam.
Well, that encourages you to keep playing and collecting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
In any form, whether it's action figures, trading cards, virtual cards, online games, the whole point is to keep you playing, keep you on it, and spending more.
Yeah.
So they all
If
make
you
money.
complete a card set, you get a badge for your profile that upgrades each time you complete the set. You get emoticons you can chat with your friends, and you get a background for your profile.
I wonder if we'll
Alright.
get Andrew Hussey drawn emoticons.
I hope so. At least the background.
All right. So one other thing for my Reddit listeners, can you post pictures on Reddit?
You can link to them on Imgur or Photobucket and stuff like that.
Okay, so what we want is somebody to take a picture of Andrew Hussey and using Photoshop, make him into Jay or Shaggy Two Dope from Insane Clown Posse.
Why?
And then label it Insane Clown Hussey. And I want to put that on a shirt and wear it to WonderCon.
Oh my god.
Insane Clown Hussey, man.
That'd be perfect.
That would be awesome, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, remember, to buy, to be or to not to be. Make that edit, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
sounds like a good idea.
Post
Give
it
us
up
your
in the middle.
answer on who we'd like to bring
Yes.
back from the past, and give your thoughts on the Ultimate Whittle and what you think
We
of
got
it.
a lot for Reddit today.
Yeah, and share the episode. Let your friends know about it. The more subscribers we get, the better our listings on iTunes. At this point, we don't make hardly any money off of 91 Reasons. It is truly a labor of love. We have the Patreon page, which is $100 a month right now, which, I mean, that's virtually nothing when it takes all the effort to put this show together. We're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we really love doing it. Thank you to all the Homestuck listeners around the world. You guys rock. You binge listen to every episode. We are so grateful that you're listening. Thank you, thank you. We'll be at WonderCon this Easter weekend in Anaheim. If you see us, let us know that you listen to 91 Reasons. We have special Homestuck business cards to hand out.
I'll be in full cosplay.
You'll be in full
I
cosplay.
just got my gray arm sleeves.
Yes, yes. And make sure you take a look at Austin before his gray paint flakes off and he becomes just another normal. We'll be playing Spin the Fago and reveling. And this is all don't worry about having a lot of cash because all the Homestuck activities are outside the convention center. So you don't need a badge to find Luna and Austin, who will be outside most of the time looking for Homestucks, finding a Homestuck base of operations next to the con suite or something. There will be all that. So, and we'll be monitoring.
There's normally a meetup outside the con every year.
We will find the Homestucks, and we will make our presence known, and you guys can have a voice. And if we can get it together, it'd be fun to do an episode that night and meet some of you guys there. So I will bring my pitiful podcasting equipment to try to set up a show where you guys can have a voice. Tell us what you like about the show, what you hate, what you want, what you don't want, what the riddle is, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Any last words of this episode?
Thanks to the Reddit community for making this so big.
WonderCon will be the weekend before the comic comes back.
Yeah.
So you guys will be boiling over with anticipation, right?
Yeah.
Hussey has said the next part of the comic's the best part of the entire comic.
I can't wait. Can
gonna
you wait?
No.
All right, the best way to support the show, go on our Patreon page and pledge as little as $1 a month to support the show. Give us a great review on iTunes. That costs nothing. You can check out my books on Amazon.com, The Sixth Key, The Lost Station, and The Infinite Backward, available as either a paperback or as a Kindle download. You can pick up a paperback of those books at WonderCon, signed by me. Yes. That'd be very exciting, wouldn't it? Yeah, not really. But they're great books, and you'll enjoy them. They're adventure books, and they're set against the backdrop of magicians, and we're very proud of them. You can also find us on Facebook and like our page. We have 348 likes at this point. We'd love to get to 500, or at least Facebook keeps telling me, get to 500, get to 500. Thank you, Facebook. Get to 500. Thank you, Facebook. Facebook can be very annoying sometimes. But again, around the world on Podomatic.com, we hit number 4 this week. Thank you for that. We simply cannot break top 1 or 2 thanks to a guy called the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I have no idea. I don't listen to it. To listen to it would be to give him ratings and stuff. I don't want to do that because it would affect our listings. So I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice. You are who?
Austin.
I'm Luna.
And together, the three of us are 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News in high definition.
All right, thank you. Welcome back to the Homestuck News program. The top stories tonight are the video game is not released. And continuing coverage, we go now to Commander Sky in the Sky, who's in a chopper above downtown Boston. That's right, we're looking around downtown Boston. We've been following Andrew Hussey around all day. We've made 7 stops to Taco Bell's. Some trash was thrown out the window, but so far no sign of him stopping at either a software programming or any kind of video game store. So at this point, the game was still not in any signs of being released. Thank you, Choni in the Sky. It's Sky in the Sky. Sorry, Sky in the Sky. I want to thank you for that. We'll keep you up to date as news breaks. If the video game is released at any time, you can rest assured that we will have the live release. Wait, we're going to breaking news. Sky in the Sky. Yes, this is Sky in the Sky again. Yeah, I already said that you were Sky in the Sky. This is Sky in the Sky again. We just want to say that Hussey has stopped at... It looks like a 7-Eleven. Yes, it's a 7-Eleven. Is it a 7-Eleven with video games? They don't have video games anymore. They took those out around 1994 with that Aerosmith shooter game. Yes, that's true, but is he buying anything related to making the Homestuck video game? Not that we can see. We're going to try to take her down into the parking lot. We can see that yes, it's a Slim Jim and a mocha iced coffee. All right, well, keep us up to date. I sure will. Back to you in the studio. All right, thank you. All right, welcome. Welcome to episode, we know what episode it is?
10, right?
Episode 10.
Oh.
Episode 10. Why don't you open the show, Austin?
We have reached a milestone. How does Caliban put it? Atop the pinnacle mountain. What is it?
What is it? I can't remember.
I can't remember the Caliban line.
Pinnacle of achievement.
Atop the pinnacle.
The pinnacle of achievement.
Yes, we have reached the top of the pinnacle of achievement with our milestone episode. 10 episodes. This was just going to be like a one-off 91 Reasons episode because we cover a variety of movies.
Over 10 hours.
Yeah.
Get up
We were-
close.
we were-
Get up close on it.
I mean, originally this was Dad's idea of just doing movies, and we decided, well, let's do one about Homestuck, and it just turned into the separate mini podcast that's now going for 10 episodes, and we don't have an end in sight. Just like,
over 11 hours now with all the time
Yeah,
we've gone over.
and just like the actual Homestuck ending, there's no sign of an ending. Ever. It's never going to end.
I tell you what, we will stop doing episodes. The last episode we will do of this show will be reviewing the Homestuck video game.
Which one?
The official Kickstarter approved
Yes, the six
video
of-
game.
There's going to be 6 of those.
6 of them.
And that's just planned. He's going to do more from there on. There's 6 in the first story arc.
There has to be one to start.
When the
Episode 1.
when the,
Homestuck Game 1, Episode 1. Comes out probably early next year.
well, why would we stop at that? Because according to Hussey, at that point, the Homestuck video games regularly come out. We'll be getting apparently 6 Paradox updates a day, according to him. He wants Paradox Base to be updating every hour or so, which
Yeah.
is insane. And then he also has a secret project, which could be anything. Another webcomic, another TV show. And we also have the merchandise. Those are his 4 big plans he said he's had to continue the license forever. Video games, Paradox Base updating every hour,
It's
some
never going
secret
away.
thing, and then Mort's being released.
And then his next project, whatever that is.
Yeah, while all that stuff's going on, Hussey's gonna move on to his next project, his magnum opus.
Yeah.
He says whatever he's
he
doing.
has an idea for a webcomic bigger than Homestuck, but he's never finished Homestuck at the time.
He says when he dies, he won't be remembered for Homestuck. He'll be remembered for his project after Homestuck.
Just like George Lucas and Strange Magic. Like that's what we're remembering
Yeah.
for. Like you go, George Lucas, didn't that guy make right, Strange Magic, right? And Howard the Duck. Yeah, he made Star Wars. No, he didn't make Star Wars. That's J.J. Abrams. God, the way you guys talk about all this stuff Hussey's coming out with, you're so optimistic.
And the irony is that Paradox Space, which is like apparently going to be a sequel webcomic once we get far enough, and that Hussey can give the okay on more canon storylines once he's covered it all in the
Yeah.
game, is that it's basically a Homestuck sequel series written by another person, which is kind of what's going on with Star
Drawn
Wars
by
right
someone
now.
else, written by someone else, nothing to do with them.
That doesn't make any sense. We should start by saying, welcome to 91 Reasons. I am the voice. I am Jeff Tucker. Who are you?
Austin?
I'm Luna.
And together we form the trio of wackos who get here every week to talk about Homestuck and to tell you to go check out the episodes on your favorite website, Reddit.
Yeah.
Tell us about Reddit.
I love the Homestuck Reddit community. They're
They're
such
just
a
talking
great.
about us on
yeah,
there.
we just got mentioned on there, literally. Someone said, "Is there any interest in a Homestuck podcast?" And they mentioned our podcast, and they listened to it, and they're gonna start their own Homestuck podcast in 2016.
I think they should. I think there's enough Homestuck talk to go around. We've proven it. Like Luna said,
Yeah.
we're at 11 hours talking about this, and I don't think there's any end in sight.
There's so much Homestuck content to cover. Like, how many Star Wars podcasts would you say there are?
Oh, I would bet there's at least 200.
Yeah.
And I think that's a low number. And there's even more Disneyland, Disney World podcasts.
Yeah.
They're just any possible angle you can think of, they do it. Like there's a whole podcast devoted to just music related to Star Wars. Like you could do an entire podcast about Homestuck music. Like, aren't you obsessed with Homestuck music?
Oh,
Yes.
There's 9 official albums and a bunch of mini add-on albums and 4 or 5 fan albums and oh boy. Yeah.
And it's great music, seriously. And if I have to recommend an album, and Luna, you'll probably agree with me
Which
here,
one?
the best album is Bowman's album. He did all the music.
Mobius Trip and
Mobius
Hadron
Trip-
Collido.
Yeah.
That's the best.
It is an album about this album has a music video on YouTube. It's the only Homestuck official music video other than the Doc Scratch Bittersweet one, which is by all his art team friends.
Yeah.
That one isn't technically official, it's just by all of Hussey's
Yeah.
friends.
Hadron Collido's completely a canon by Hussey.
It is a canon music video where they had on full Dorse and Prospect outfits they sewed, and it's a full CG live action Prospect. It is
Yeah.
amazing, and it's about it has a story to it. It's about a session where there was 2 Dorse agents instead of like the
No,
midnight
one Prospect and one Durst.
one Prospect and
When
one
they met
Dorse.
on the battlefield, instead of fighting, they took out instruments and they all figured out the ultimate riddle. So instead of fighting, they just made a music dedicated to telling future people about what the ultimate riddle is.
And the
This is
songs,
their album they left behind.
the songs sing about the webcomic of Homestuck.
Yeah,
They are the
they break
most
the fourth
meta
wall
songs you
and-
could ever imagine. They sing about Homestuck and its title. They sing about what pumpkin and its merchandise.
Yeah.
Within the song is
Oh my god.
no. Pause it. Pause it.
All right, everybody. There was a slight pause there, as if you heard Austin go, "Ooh!" He spilled water everywhere, and we had to clean it up. So we're all dry now. Nothing was damaged, and I don't think the recording equipment was affected at all. We're going to talk about Homestuck and the way the Homestuck then. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. And everything's working fine, right? So you guys were talking about two soldiers. It's a song about two guys on the battlefield.
Yeah.
So what else is on the album? Continue the because for the people listening, it didn't. There was no time delay.
Yeah.
It was a half hour for us, but it was It's like Einstein. He jumped over that minute to instantly arrive at this moment in time. And yes, if you're having a Homestuck podcast drinking game, every time I mention Back to the Future, take a drink. So that was a drink right there. So go ahead.
We basically described it there. Yeah.
What else is on the album?
It's a really short album. It's only like 6-7 songs, and only 4 or 5 of them actually have lyrics.
But the ones with lyrics are amazing.
Yeah, there's half of them are very meta, and half of them are very soul-searching, ultimate riddle-y stuff.
Which no one really knows what it is yet.
No.
So they just sing songs about it, and it's like the Eurythmics song, "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This." Only they never tell you what sweet dreams are made of. They just keep saying that over and over again, but they don't actually tell you what sweet dreams are made of. What is another? Because I mean, you guys have got hours. Like we're going on a road trip in a few days to Las Vegas, and Austin keeps telling me how much Homestuck music, Broadway Car Cat music,
Yeah.
he's got saved up to play,
Broadway
which
Car
is
Cat alone has YouTube videos, an 1 hour mix, and 1 hour mix number 2. There's at least 2 solid hours of him, and that's just the songs you can find. The
On
harder
YouTube,
ones to
but-
find, it can usually have 3
Yeah.
hours.
what's a typical song about? I don't understand.
They originally started out as Broadway songs being covered by Carcat, but it sort of turned into its own thing. So when you look them up, expect to find 2006 hipster music covered by Carcat.
Yeah, it's all middle school emo music and stuff, but redone as what they took apart from the comic and from Carcat's point of view of it.
Does the guy sing like Carcat's?
Yes.
What is Carcat's voice?
It's very high pitched.
Yeah, he has a very iconic Carcat voice. He's considered one of the best. Him and Ask Carcat.
Yeah, the
They team up
Carcat voice.
even.
You can't do a Carcat voice, either one of you?
No, I can't do any character voices. I don't like listening
You
to
are
myself.
a character voice.
Well, I
Ask the Reddit listeners. Did anybody take our Reddit challenge and make those photo manipulations? Nobody did that,
didn't
right?
see that.
No. They have failed us. Reddit, you have failed us. Why? I can't believe I put my faith in strangers on the internet. Why?
We did have a lot of talk about the Ultimate Riddle, and a lot of talk about who people would bring back to
Now,
life.
I thought there was a lot of talk about the ultimate Tom Riddle. But you're saying it's something different.
Yeah.
Which is what exactly? What were they talking about?
About what the Ultimate Riddle was. What was their
It was
idea
all
of the
about
Ultimate
that
Riddle?
Carcat scene. That's all anyone ever talks about.
Yeah.
Is Carcat and Jade.
That's gotta be the most important scene of the webcomic that is often overlooked, though. Like, I never see that scene being mentioned anywhere else, but that's gotta be some of the most important dialogue of the whole comic that is very easily skipped on a first read-through.
Yeah.
So what else is going on in Homestuck World? Did you guys finally get Ryan North's game?
Yes.
Yes.
That came out this morning.
Came out this morning. To be or not to be. How much was it?
$11.99.
$12.
$12 on Steam.
Yep.
Now, did you buy one each or just one?
One each.
One each. And you had a Steam card, Luna.
Yeah.
And Austin, you sold hats or something.
Yes, I made money off the virtual hat market, and have been able to get this game for free practically.
You're that little kid's book, the guy that sells hats.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like you're always selling hats.
But I get.
You're like a haberdashery.
Yeah, but I've got the entire Half-Life 2 series from hats. I've gotten all the Counter-Strike games from hats. I've gotten To Be or Not to Be from hats.
Now, how do you get these hats?
play Team Fortress 2.
And like they just fall on the ground or what?
Sometimes you can get them as drops, but that's really rare.
What happens is you get drops, and what I've done is, over a long time of playing, I've gotten enough drops that I can get enough of the in-game currency to invest money in hats that I think will be worth more later.
Yeah.
So I invest in this hat market, and they have a stock website you can go to, and it shows like little arrows whether hats are going up or down, and I see if my hat, if I've lost money in this hat, or if I've made a lot of money in the hat.
I would go out on a limb and say that what you're saying sounds completely insane, except for the fact that it actually works, and you actually make virtual money to buy this crap. So you didn't hit me up for a Steam card. You actually, What did you start with? Like $1 or what?
I used to just buy the in-game currency and spend it on the hats I want to keep, but it mainly started with going to Hatbots, which are automated robots on Steam that will buy your hats, and they sell them back to you. Well, in-game, you can paint your items with an expensive paint you spend money on and make them a new color. And that paint gets deleted and added onto the hat. And what you do is, some people who don't know the value of the paint give it to a bot. So you can buy a hat with free paint from the bot and sell it online more because it has to wear paint. Someone sells the hat something with a pre-attached part, not knowing what it's worth, and I could buy it back and sell it for money. And I worked my way up. Now I buy stuff with $5 paint for about $1 and sell it for a lot.
Imagine if you put this much effort into something tangible.
It's considered real money. If you do 200 trades in a year and make over $20,000, they tax you.
Yeah. And you can actually... I'm actually doing the easier way. If you're into the high-tier hats, which I haven't gotten to yet, but maybe someday I can dream, you trade those hats through PayPal, and you do real PayPal transactions.
People pay $500 for a hat because it's the normal 25-cent hat, but it's flaming.
Yeah.
So it's upwards of $18,000.
So suddenly you've gone from trading hats for hats to hats to Steam money to hats for actual PayPal money.
One guy was playing the game, he was doing the special co-op mode, and as a random drop, he got the golden rocket launcher, and he's now it's worth what, $2,000? Something like that?
It's the most valuable item in the game right now because of a YouTuber who's hyped it up.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. This is how I actually was able to afford To Be or To Not To Be. There was a YouTuber called Muselk in Team Fortress who posts videos of him using in-game items, and he posts previews of these videos. So he posts a preview on what item he's going to use next. I buy 1,000 of that item. He posts a video. I sell that item for a lot more because the item gets hyped up.
The price goes up as soon as this guy uses it.
Like celebrity endorsement.
Yeah, pretty much.
As soon as he says, I really like the third version of the rocket launcher, that rocket launcher goes up in the market. So if you bought it before, there you go.
Suddenly a 25-cent weapon is $2.50.
That sounds crazy. So you use all this Team Fortress trickery to earn money to buy
To Be or To Not To Be.
To Be or Not To Be, Ryan North's game, which is what? Describe the game. Give us a review. Come on.
It is the story of Hamlet by William Shakespeare, and Ryan was doing dinosaur comics when he got the idea of, to be or not to be, the famous phrase. That sounds like one of those things like you see at a bottom of Choose Your Own Adventure. To be, turn to page blah, or not to be, turn to page whatever. And he said, you know what, I'm going to write it. So he wrote it, did a Kickstarter. It was one of the most fun. It's a book, audio book, and a game and everything.
It was a $20,000 goal, and he weighs 200,000.
Yeah.
So now he's got,
He's the most percent overfunded by a
Kickstarter.
Private publisher on Kickstarter.
Yeah. Him and Hussey have both broken Kickstarter records here. But I've never read the book, To Be or To Not To Be, and the game is basically the book.
It's just the book, but they put an audiobook, and it's interactive. It has special music and interactive sections.
Steam achievements
and trading cards, all that stuff.
And I love it. This was so good.
So good.
So good. The humor, oh my god.
We played for 2.5 hours, and the only thing we beat is the classic playthrough, where they put a little skull next to all the choices that Shakespeare made when he wrote the story. And if you take that, you get the original Hamlet written by Ryan North. And that's the only thing we've seen so far.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
There's a whole section written by Andrew Hussey.
Yes.
And that was...
A little tiny bit spoiler, but they give away in the trailer.
Okay, spoiler. Yeah, I gave a spoiler warning.
Choose Your Own Adventure book within the Choose Your Own Adventure book, and that book is written by Hussey, and all the art in it's drawn by Hussey.
Some of them even they look like his old blogs.
They look
he used
like
to
his
post.
old blurbs before he did MSPA. He did these little blurb comics.
Imagine a sequel to Bard Quest.
It's pretty much Bard Quest 2. Very upset that I have not found an ending where you get launched off a catapult to your death, or you don't steal any cod pieces from the Codporium. Saving that for the Homestuck game.
But seriously, the humor in this game is amazing. It's really, really meta. Like, how many times is Wyan North said in this game?
Oh.
How many Wyan North achievements are there?
Oh, God.
How many times are the Adventure Time comics and the end Dinosaur
How
comics
many
mentioned?
Sweet Bro references are there?
A lot of Sweet
There's
Bro
two
reference.
characters they're Hamlet characters, but Ryan's just like, now there's Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff inserts. It's Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff. He's not even subtle about it.
And they quote Sweet Bro and Hella
And they
Jeff.
quote Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff throughout the thing.
Like, I was expecting Wyan North's work, which he says all he writes is Homestuck,
Yeah.
and that's true. All his works have a Homestuck charm to them. This thing is full of Homestuck
Yeah.
references. Oh my god.
It does the whole play as blank. You are now blank.
And-
Or a really long command of what page to go to, and then you turn to it and it just says, it says, okay, you do that thing, and then now you're doing this.
And
it
that's
just
a direct
cuts
line.
through the whole thing.
That's a direct line from
Yeah.
Act 1,
That's
right?
John, Act 3? Act 2, something like that. John is, do a triple backflip handstand down the hole, and you turn the page, it's just John standing there, it says, okay, you did all that. And Ryan does that in To Be or Not to Be a lot.
So does it follow the plot of Hamlet, or is it an original story?
If you follow the skulls, it does. There's a skull that tells you, do this if you want to continue following the plot of Hamlet. Or click the other choices if you want to tangent off.
I mean, when you have a choice of either, like, continuing, and then your next choice
Yeah.
is turn into the Hulk, I think...
Yeah, you can try to avenge your father, or you can turn to the Hulk or become a Ghostbuster, or play another Choose Your Own Adventure within the Choose Your Own Adventure, and all that crazy stuff.
I would rather see William Shakespeare's Hamlet featuring the Ghostbusters than I would the Ghostbusters reboot starring all those chicks.
Yeah. In this one,
I don't know.
the Ghostbusters are going after the king's ghost.
Yorick?
Not Yorick.
The king.
The king who died at
Okay.
the beginning. Yorick's only in the prequel he wrote, which is a mini Choose Your Own Adventure that you could. So far, it's not even in the game. You can only get it if you did the Kickstarter.
Yorick is our house ghost here at Hufflepuff. Luna. Right, Luna? What house was Luna?
Ravenclaw.
She's a Ravenclaw. She shouldn't be sitting at our table. That's my Hogwarts student in
Hogwarts
Hufflepuff.
student in
It's my new
Hufflepuff.
character. Hello, I'm. My name. I can't even get it out.
So,
It's so stupid. And poor Austin's like, we have Homestuck stuff to talk about.
I actually want to talk about something with the game.
Go ahead. It's your show.
If you buy this game, and you really should, seriously, buy this game, please write a good review, because right now, there's actually bad reviews for this
No
game.
one understands the humor.
They don't get it, because they don't get the commands, they don't get the Homestuck references, they don't get the meta jokes. Like, one guy was complaining, he clicked a command, and the character said, "You're your own independent woman. They're not going to take your user-submitted commands." And he got so angry, he's saying, "This isn't funny, this is terrible, I want to command the person. It's a choose-your-own adventure, so I want my commands to be followed."
Then it hates you the entire time.
And they hated that. They're like, "I don't want to have a relationship with them, I just want to play a choose-your-own adventure with Hamlet." Like, they are not getting the whole MSPA format thing.
Would people who are not fans of this guy, why would they buy this game? Because it seems like if you're a fan of Ryan North and Homestuck and Hussey...
It's a lot of Shakespeare fans who are upset that it's not true to Hamlet.
Well, they should just read a Hamlet then.
Because it's on the front page of Steam. To Be or Not to Be, a William Shakespeare adventure. And then they get upset that they're instead getting...
Ghostbusters.
You turn into the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Like, one of those reviews, he was so mad.
Hulk smasheth.
He wanted a serious playthrough, choose your own adventure, Hamlet, you do what you want. He didn't like that the commands didn't be followed, and they did not like that it was this type of humor.
Yeah.
They just wanted like a will choose your own adventure, Hamlet.
I felt it wasn't faithful to William Shakespeare. I'm going to have to go to the Hogwarts library and check out the actual book to see what the plot really is. That's my area. The return of my Hogwarts Hufflepuff student.
The game goes on an hour-long tangent that's canon. It's an hour-long canon tangent of Hamlet's fighting pirates on his party cruise, and he chops off this guy's hands and beheads him and makes all these puns.
How much animation is in this game, or is it just text?
There isn't. It's just text.
Oh, for God. He must have put this together over a weekend.
He
It's
announced
a book.
it a couple weeks ago.
You guys are all excited. I'm thinking it's some game. Like Donkey Kong has more action than this
It's all
stuff.
narration. It's fully narrated audiobook. It's got special stuff, like when they're on the party boat, confetti goes across the stream, and every time you click command, it sets off streamers. And
This is what's wrong with the generation today. This is exactly what's wrong. We live in an age where you can make a game photoreal. Like, you make a game about any topic. You could make a Shakespeare game where you could put goggles on and actually be in the show. And you guys are playing games that are like from 1985. This sounds like one step above Lemonade Stand or Oregon Trail. Now, I'm not slamming it, because if it's done properly and fun, I get that it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, look at how crazy and backwards we've gone with the nostalgia of, I want a game that looks like I played it in the 4th grade. There's nothing, nothing wrong if that's the aesthetic, but it seems crazy.
The main gimmick is that every time you get to an ending, either a good or a bad ending, you get a special piece of art that goes in the art gallery, and this is in the book version. And every art is by a different comic artist. Some of them are web comics, some of them are from Adventure Time, some of them are from just Ryan's friends in the industry.
Most of them are from Hussey's Art Team 2.0.
Most of it's art team, Hussey's art team, just wherever he could get people who do art for him. So there's, is there a Hussey ending? There's Hussey art in the comic. But I don't think we found a Hussey ending yet.
What would be a Hussey ending where you get to it and it's like, I need 9 more months. The ending will be in 9 more months.
There's already a whole section where it says be Hamlet, be blah, and all the other characters. There's a secret one if you do a certain path. It's be Ryan North. You are now Ryan North. You have this amazing idea to write a book.
Hussey, you can actually view Hussey's art. You get the cover of
the cover of the Choose Your Adventure counts as his.
And you get Hussey's biography to read, which I'm like, oh my god, I'm finally gonna find out what Hussey's life is like.
Yeah.
And of course it was a joke. What was I expecting?
The whole biography of Andrew Hussey is, one time Andrew Hussey traded credit cards with William Shakespeare. But Shakespeare didn't know what a credit card was, so Hussey made off with all his big bucks.
This is the most obscure joke ever made.
No one's gonna get it.
You need to remind me to put spoilers on this, because you're giving away the whole game for those that haven't played.
I've only played through one playthrough. There's a lot I don't know yet. So who knows what there is to find in there. And most people have read the book. It came out about a year ago. So the spoilers have kind of come off of it by now. What was I saying?
What were you saying?
Hussey's
biography?
The credit card. People in the Reddit will probably know. This is their type of weird thing. A couple years ago, Hussey and Ryan swapped credit cards and bought each other things with their credit cards. And it was there's things Hussey bought and things Ryan bought, things North bought. I'll put the links on the Reddit if I remember to. And it's just them going on about bought these groceries with Ryan's credit card and went to medieval times with Ryan's credit card and all this crazy stuff. Yeah.
If you had Hussey's credit card, what would you buy?
Homestuck stuff on Etsy and Redbubble.
There's nothing on Etsy. He had it all taken
There's
down.
a little bit left that's just Zodiac stuff, fun Zodiac items.
This is a great topic to talk about. So I went on Etsy to look for Homestuck stuff, and it turns out Waitsel went through again, deleted everything.
Is it gone again?
It's all gone again, everything, except the person who puts up their tarot card readings every time. As soon as the Waitsel takes them down, they put them right back.
They'll read the Homestuck tarot cards for you. They do a tarot reading with the Homestuck cards with like pictures of what you got. It's like $20.
But you don't get the cards.
No,
they're keeping their
you
cards.
You just get a picture of what you got.
What a racket!
So, I went to eBay and looked up Homestuck, and oh my goodness, I used to go there and it used to be used What Pumpkin Topatico arrow T-shirts. Do they replace the arrow T-shirts? Do they take them back? Why are there so many of those on eBay?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
There's a lot of them on eBay, and I was going to see, we'll see what they have. Well, now there's a lot of knockoff Homestuck.
Yeah.
A lot of it. Being manufactured in China. Mm-hmm. There is Homestuck branded wigs being made. that look like the characters' wigs, and they've got some wonderful Homestuck stock art to put with it. They're making Suffalo necklaces actually from the What Pumpkin molds that look exactly like them.
Did they get those from What
I
Pumpkin?
don't know.
Are they selling them? Or
I'm guessing they bought one and made a mold of it.
They're selling it really cheap, but it's not really up to What Pumpkin standards. It's really weird.
But it's not a generic Zodiac necklace, it's a
They might be
Suffalo
3D
pendant.
printed.
It looks like the Suffalo necklace.
I don't
It's
know.
too spot on. And then, this is the weirdest one yet. Okay, when I saw this, I thought it was a custom art commission, but there's a lot of them on eBay, and these are being mass-produced from China in bulk. We're talking about a half-naked Jake Inglis body pillow, and a full anime body pillow. Just Jake Inglis.
That's the only one.
And-
And they're like,
Oh, yeah, no.
producing this thing.
The last couple Christmases, I've gone on to buy you something, Homestuck, and that stupid pillow comes up every time, and you're supposed to, it's a body pillow.
Yeah.
It's like an extra long
Full
one.
size.
You're supposed to, like, lay on it and, like, make out with it.
And it's only Jake, and that's the only thing they make.
yeah, no, they don't make
mass
any-
produce that one image of that one character.
Right,
It
they-
sells enough that they still keep putting
Well,
it back
They
up.
got a JPEG somewhere that's, like, extra clear, and they're like, that's what we're making. Starts cranking them out.
But it used to just be one person. Now there's a lot of different,
Multiple people are
lot of
mass-producing
different
the same pillow.
companies who specialize in that thing on eBay from China, mass producing these.
That's because it's probably one of those things where it only costs 30 cents to list it. So every time they sell one, they just have to go. They just have to make it. There's no stock anywhere. Like, are you imagining like an assembly line of Jake English pillows, and like they're coming down the line again and again in a big warehouse, and there's a guy at a desk with like a phone, and he's like waiting, and then the phone rings, ring, and he goes, "Hello." Just like go, you do? You have? Oh, they'll be very discreet. And he slams the phone down. We got one! And then all of a sudden they start rushing the Jake English pillow out to the post office. That's got to be the way it is, right?
Yeah.
How many of those could they possibly sell to make that feasible?
Oh, no.
They keep selling them.
You can actually find out. eBay has a new thing that says how many people are watching. And last time I checked, there was about 45 people watching the Jake English body pillow on each seller.
I'd see. But here you're missing. There's two reasons people watch an auction. The first is, I don't want to forget to buy that. I need that. Paydays and two. Listen, I need a Jake English body pillow to snuggle with, and it's 3 days till payday. So I'm going to put it on the watch list, and I'm going to buy it on Friday. I'm going to treat myself to some Panda Express or some like go to the steakhouse. And then I'm going to buy this pillow. Now, see, that's the one reason. You know what the other reason is? People
What?
watch it because they go, well, no one's going to buy that. But I want to know when they do. Because I sell on eBay. And I get items that sometimes have like 50 watchers, but the bid will never go up. And that's in regular merchandise, like collectible stuff. That's because, hey, I've got one in my basement. And I want to see what yours sells for before I list mine. And when they see that it doesn't make any money.
Is there an entire mini market economy for the Jake English body pillow?
Yeah. See, you're missing it. There are 2 provinces in China that is their chief export is Jake English
Now-
body pillows.
Out of curiosity, do you think I could invest in these body pillows and make a profit off of them when the stock rises?
No, I think here's what I would do. Go on eBay, buy 10 Jake English body pillows. What do they sell for?
I don't know.
About $34, I think, right?
You said
If they
open
come
it up
with
on
the
eBay
pillow,
right now.
The pillow case should be like $10. They need
You
more than that.
you should look it up on eBay.
Vamp while I look them up.
Okay.
Okay. So the Jake English body.
Kid, he comes into the Alpha Kids. He's technically Jade's grandpa, young version of Jake's grandpa.
And why does he want to cuddle with everybody?
I don't know.
Is that in his nature?
It's sort of every other Alpha Kid has a crush on him. The entirety of Act 6 is just gotta get Jake English. And then the end of Act 6 is just God, I hate Jake English.
All right, so I'm looking it up, and for the Jake English body pillow,
There's a lot of them.
there are 6 separate listings, starting at a penny, going all the way up to $22.99 with free shipping.
From Hong Kong and China.
And we should mention the Jake English body pillow is double-sided.
It's double-sided.
So you can either cuddle on his front, or you can cuddle on his back, whatever floats your cuddle pillow boat, right? And I can buy this for $28.99, but there is a guy who says $22.99 or best offer plus free shipping. So I'm going to say you could probably get one shipped for $20.
I should point out that he's already sold 11 of those.
Yeah, he sold 11 of them. And we should also mention that if we hover over, hold on, make it bigger, that Jake's pants are undone in the front, and they're actually pulled down in the back. So it's no wonder he's everybody's favorite, because Jake is very friendly and available, it seems. But here's what I would do, Austin. I would get some of your hard-earned birthday money, the money you earned for not dying.
Yeah.
And invest in like 10 of these. It's about $200. Then buy a table at one of the conventions.
Why?
Now a retail table is going to cost you about $600 or $700. So now you're in for about $1,000.
Okay.
If you count in a hotel room,
That's
snacks,
no 1,000, huh?
snacks,
For $200 each.
snacks, and then drinks, Starbucks, parking.
Another 500.
Yeah, you're going to be in about $1,500 or $1,600. Now, that's okay because you've got 10 Jake English body pillows. You put those on the table. You know what's going to happen at the end of the weekend? You're going to sell none. And everyone's going to walk by your table and go, why do you have 10 Jake English body pillows? You won't make any friends. You won't sell any. And you'll be broke. But you can then go home and drown yourself in the luxurious essence of the Jake English body pillow. Have we given it enough of a commercial?
Yes.
And we should also point out that Jake's
What?
Jake's face, his what's the word I'm looking for? Your
Glasses?
no, when you look like something, his
Look like
facial
so-
expression?
his expression is when he's on his back, he kind of looks a little upset. And when he's on his stomach, showing you his green underpants, he's grasping the pillow here, and he kind of looks a little scared. Like he's worried that you're up to something, and his sock is coming off.
He's scared that you spent $20 on this.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? If you had $20, you could have taken me to the mall or something. But okay, let's cuddle. Now you're joking, but if I bought one of these for you, you would actually enjoy that.
Yes.
Because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what? Today's episode of 91 Reasons is brought to you by the Jake English Body Pillow, available on eBay from China, only $20, and it can be yours if the price is right.
The other one's listed for a penny.
How much is shipping on that?
Why are they listed for a penny? I'm really...
The shipping is going to be 20.
Yeah, the shipping's going to be $22.
Wait, look at the title of that. We should read that title aloud.
Okay, that's the Hot BL Male Dakamakura Homestuck Jake English Hugging Body Pillow Cover Case. And that pretty much says it all.
That pretty much says it all.
Who? Do you have any idea whose art this is?
No!
Because this is somebody's really
It's
accomplished.
someone's art,
It's
and I-
accomplished art.
And I would assume the rest of the kids are there too. I don't know why they took that artist, that character, that was the one we're producing. I don't know what's the story behind it.
I wish
and-
I knew. I wish I knew.
How come all these other China factories have decided, well, we're also going to make the body pillows of Jake English too? Just Jake English.
Multiple factories have seen this person's Tumblr or art list and said, pick Jake English, put them on the pillow.
It's almost as if they're buying it from each other and just selling the same 5 over and over again.
It's just the same ones going in circulation.
Like, that could be it, right?
Maybe. I mean,
Like, I used to sell custom Simpsons figures on eBay back in the day. And every once in a while, I'd go on eBay, and there'd be somebody selling the figures I sold them. And I'm like, hey, I sold you that for $60, and now it's $100. How did that happen? I wish I could have sold it for $100. So, hey, if you want a Jake English body pillow cover, it's just the cover.
no pillow included.
And we've ordered from China. It's going to come to you in a package, neatly folded, about 3 inches by 5 inches, and it's a full pillow. It's going to take you 6 weeks of cuddling to get all the creases out. I don't understand. I don't understand. How come Hussey hasn't shut these guys down?
I don't know.
I
All
don't
he has
know.
to do is write eBay and put in a copyright infringement notice, and it would get taken down. But I guess it would just get put right back up.
Yeah.
He does it
Well-
sometimes. It's Rachel's job. She sweeped Etsy and Redbubble in November, December. Now, that's the last time we heard of.
He keeps doing it, though. Like, they go
Yeah.
back up, and then they're all gone the next
Yeah,
day.
we've ordered from Redbubble, and I was always shocked, like, Redbubble is a reputable big company on the internet. And everything they sell is somebody else's intellectual property. I have no idea how this is allowed.
Nothing they sell is legal.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Because it's something to do with all the art is uploaded by the artist. So if there were legal implications, they wouldn't be held responsible. They're just the middleman.
Like
They're just printing the shirts.
I totally get that those kinds of retailers, either online or at conventions, are fulfilling a need that the main copyright holder simply isn't.
Yeah.
You know, because if you go look at, and this is just my opinion, if you go look at Hot Topic and those shirts, the ones you see at the conventions are 10 times better. They're more clever, or they're sexier, or they take an edge that maybe they couldn't do in the real world, you know? So you have to go to that black market sideline to get something that different.
The references are a lot more obscure.
Well, yeah, because they're only making 5. If you see a shirt at Hot Topic, the minimum buy-in's probably 100,000 units.
Yeah.
So they're not going to make something obscure in 100,000, otherwise they're going to be sitting on them forever.
Yeah.
Like the Jake English body pillow.
The thing that's odd about Topic, though, is they've been trying to get the Homestuck master license from Hussey to produce merchandise for, 4 years now? They tried to get it in its early days.
Yeah.
They've been trying to get Homestuck forever.
Wouldn't you love to know how much they've offered him for it?
Yeah.
We don't know. All we know is
We don't
they've
know anything about the
had
legal
multiple
dealings.
meetings where they tried. They really want that license.
Oh, I wonder how much to make off Homestuck, because it's some of their top selling stuff. You can see top selling things on the site. It's almost all Homestuck. But you gotta think, the artist gets a cut, Hussey gets a cut, and What Pumpkin gets a cut.
And the raw materials have to be accounted for.
So how much do they actually make?
And Hussey,
Not much. That's why you always deal in such a large number.
Yeah.
There's not a big enough piece of pie for 4,000 units. You need to get to 100,000 to really make that kind of big money.
But it's the same company that has Bravest Warriors, Miku, Avengers, Star Wars. So money isn't much of a problem for them.
Which company is this?
This is Wheel of Fine.
Yeah, no,
not Hot
they're doing
Topic.
just fine.
They're
We Love Fine had 2 booths at Comic-Con.
Wheel of Fine's a lot like Funko, where money's not the issue. They just have a lot of trouble with copyright meetings and stuff.
Right.
And I like how Hussey has... Normally, if something's on Wheel of Fine, it's a Hot Topic the next day.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fine sips everything to Hot Topic. But Hussey has specifically told Wheel of Fine you can only sip out one Homestuck t-shirt to Hot Topic, and only that one t-shirt.
Yeah.
Hussey's so protective with the license going to Hot Topic.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if we've covered this before, but if you walked into Hot Topic and they had the Nightmare Before Christmas section right up front, next to the Harley Quinn,
and Joker.
next to the Supernatural, next to the Little Mermaid, next to Attack on Titan and Doctor Who, and then right next to it, there was a full display of all the Homestuck merchandise you could ask for. Would you be excited at that, or would you be like, oh, now it's mainstream?
Excited because they're actually start making more merchandise.
And you can get your
without
hands on the
crazy
merchandise.
Shipping.
Yeah, the sipping. I can never get my hands on Homestuck merchandise. It's so difficult
go to
to
the
get
con.
it.
Yeah.
You have to
And
go to the con.
They're not going to much this year. They put up their list, and there's not much West Coast.
They're not going to WonderCon?
Yeah.
Right now, Anime Expo is the only West Coast they've signed on.
I'm so happy half of the merchandise is at Wheel of Fine, because that's the only half merchandise I'll be able to buy.
Have the WonderCon booth
No.
confirmed? No, because
No.
they only put on the list with their 100% confirmed. So it says they haven't sent out the WonderCon confirmations
But
yet.
they've been to the last 3.
Yeah.
So it's not like they would be new to them.
And Wheel of Fine will be there, and they're always with Wheel of Fine.
Well, we'd like to ask the fine folks at We Love Fine. We're not affiliated with you in any way, but if you would like us to review your products on this fine program, you can contact me through Podomatic or the 91 Reasons Facebook page, and we'd be more than happy to accept whatever merchandise you'd like to send us for a full, unbiased review on 91 Reasons. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I would actually love to review that, actually.
Yeah.
Most of the products are really nice. I
Yeah,
recommend
yeah.
them. I like them better than...
Go ahead.
I like them better than What Pumpkin because I prefer the Wheel of Fine materials more than the American Apparel stuff Hussey has.
Well, also, you're very into My Little Pony, so
Oh, no.
you're very into their pony merchandise.
No.
You're like a brony.
No!
Oh, I'm sorry.
No!
I had you confused. You're a Homestuck.
I found about Wheel of Fine through Adventure Time because they are the only gender-swapped Fiona and Cake merchandise. And they also had the only Bravest Warriors merchandise. And when they got a Homestuck, I was excited. Because Wheel of Fine is an amazing company to have the license. They make such good stuff.
I know, because the last, 3 conventions, that's all you've purchased.
Yeah.
It's all they sell. They wheel the horns around, and that's all they sell at the booth.
Marceline's band shirt was the #1 T-shirt on Wheel of Fine selling for years. Now it's finally been beaten by the Vriska T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, not much has
The
changed.
Hussey-approved Naked Vriska?
Oh, God.
Is that the one you want?
No, the Naked Gamzee.
Naked Gamzee,
That has a
Hussey-approved.
little Hussey giving the thumbs up on it.
Yeah, we need this podcast to be Hussey-approved.
I need to embalm it with the little "You're welcome."
I wonder how much Wheel of Fine knows about the comic, because something I found odd is that they put up a lot of Vriska merchandise. If you go on there, you'll notice
They
that
found
they...
that Vriska, Dave, and Gamzee sell the best.
Well, here's the thing. If you go on there and look at their cosplay stuff, you'll notice that there was more Vriska and Trezzy of anything else.
Yeah.
And they did this exactly before Vriska and Trezzy's big arc
Yeah.
at the end of the newest act.
Well,
do you think Hussey contacted them and said, you guys should make some Vriska and Trezzy stuff? Those characters are going to be popular?
he might have.
Plus, with their hiatus, those characters are really popular
Yeah.
because of the story arc.
Look at what their early releases was. It was almost all Dave and Gamzee related. They thought Dave and Gamzee were going to be the biggest things they've ever gotten their hands on.
And then they released...
They have no concept that when you put out something like this that's this cultish, it's usually the smallest thing that people focus on.
Yeah.
Like, if you went there and they had a shirt of Andrew Hussey or a shirt of the Midnight Crew, what would you pick?
Oh, God.
Like,
don't offer me that.
Hussey.
Because
I'd pick Hussey, but
Midnight Crew-
is tempting.
there's just no merchandise to the Midnight Crew.
That's what I'm saying. It's the most, you guys want the most craziest thing.
Yeah.
Because, and I know why. It's so that when you put it on and you meet somebody and they know what it is, they're a fan.
Yeah.
Right? That you're a fan. That's the difference between a Darth Vader shirt and a Bosk shirt. Is you're like, oh, the guy's got a lizard. No, is it? Never mind. We shouldn't talk. But they go, oh, Darth Vader, man. Or like, when you go to the convention, I was there at Comic-Con one time talking to some guy, and I was like, wow, Comic-Con's really exploding. He goes, yeah, check out all the guys in their Target Millennium Falcon shirt. and you know what? The minute he said that, that's all I noticed was that stupid, that schematic one.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's $8, man. That's not hip.
For Homestuck, if you see someone in this shirt, you know they're a major fan. And that's the Game Bro and Game Girl shirts. Because those were only available for a few months when the comic was really small in 2009 for the Kickstarter, and then like half a month last year when they had found an extra box in the back. And that's the only time you've ever been able to buy them.
How come you haven't made one of those?
They're full decal shirts. It's not like paint on a logo. They're full shirts.
I can think of a t-shirt.
Which one?
There's a Homestuck t-shirt, not a Problem Sleuth. I know all that Problem Sleuth stuff is so rare.
Matt Harst?
No. Even rarer. There's a Homestuck t-shirt that came out literally on 4/13 when the comic started. I went back on the way back machine. It was only in What Pumpkin for about a week, and if you own this t-shirt, you're
one?
a Homestuck god. This t-shirt is so rare. It was a Pester Chum t-shirt.
Oh, the Pester Chum
It
one.
was only available for like a week.
That was about the same time as Game Bro and Game Girl, but it sold out a lot faster.
And it wasn't re-released with the Kickstarter.
It wasn't re-released to Kickstarter.
That's it. It's just gone. And it's all of the Pester Chum logos on a t-shirt.
Yeah. The
From
Rank
Topatico.
Harrison, yeah. That one and the Bat Harst are the rarest. Because Bat Harst was only available while Problem Sleuth was in progress. It was a really limited time.
Before Homestuck even
It's
began.
not like the Problem Sleuth Afterlife shirt they were stuck with till last year. They think they finally ran out of those.
The one that Hussey had to go to cons to sell.
Yeah.
Let's give you another choice. Would you rather have, what was that shirt that came out opening day?
Which one? The Pester Chum?
Pester Chum. Would you rather have a Pester Chum shirt or an actual white T-shirt worn by Andrew Hussey?
Oh, the shirt worn by Andrew.
And it's all worn by Hussey.
You guys are so
Yes.
crazy.
I could go, look, there's some Hussey DNA on this.
Oh, that's so weird. And does it upset you that around his town, like the guy at Taco Bell in the drive-thru is giving him his order, has no idea who that is? Because if he was, he'd be saving his. If Hussey handed him $5, he should put it in his pocket and put his own $5 in the register, because that's a Hussey $5 bill, right?
$5 bill.
Well, as far as we
Probably
can tell,
doodled something on it.
remember when we talked about the Subway? And he got a Subway with Cockhead on it because the guy knew who he was, and he got so upset? It's like he does.
The people that talk about it are like, shh, Andrew Hussey's coming. Nobody mentioned that we know what he is.
He actually says on Twitter he gets recognized a lot in public for wearing cool Homestuck t-shirts. People will be like,
someone will walk by and say, "Hey, cool Homestuck shirt." He'll be like, "Thanks," and keep walking.
Well, we'd like to put an open invitation. If Andrew Hussey would like to appear on 91 Reasons, please contact us through the Facebook page or on Twitter. I am at the Sixth Key, TheSixthKey. I do follow Andrew Hussey. So if you'd like to be on the show, just give me a private message and we'll hook that up. You know, we're totally good that way. If you want to come on and tell us how it's going to end, that would be great.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, that would be okay with us,
the
right?
first game's releasing.
Yeah, he can't do that.
He said it on Twitter, but it's privatized.
Yeah, of course.
Toby was talking about, oh yeah, my game comes out in the privatized tweet. It was like he didn't type private. It was actually a literal privatized tweet. And Hussey just tweeted, oh, that's about the same time the first Homestuck game's coming out. Guess people are getting a lot of games that month.
And you're the clown lord who archived it.
I was messing with him as Marlon B. Rando again. And then I switched to my other account, GamTav Live, and Hussey was just like, it's the same guy, isn't it? He literally tweeted at both of my accounts, is this just the same guy?
But you understand the irony of the guy who invented the internet troll as a character being internet trolled.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just poetic justice. That's just poetic justice. You get what you deserve.
And both my Twitter handlers, Marlon M. Brando and GamTab for Life, he made up those tweets. He tweeted, wouldn't it be cool if someone had the Twitter handle? And then I went and made that Twitter.
Well, of course you did. Of course you did.
He's created this himself.
One's technically my in-character fan cherub, but I'm trying not to let that mess with things too much.
Didn't
You guys
Ryan
are
North
truly obsessed. And I know that's weird to say on the 12th hour of this show or whatever we're up to. But you guys are truly obsessed.
Yeah.
And you say that with pride.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
I am obsessed with this webcomic.
I was obsessed with Star Wars, so it's not like it's any different.
Yeah.
And look where that got me. My creator, George Lucas, the guy who created Jabba the Hutt, became Jabba the Hutt. He became the Galactic Empire. So what comes around goes around.
Well,
What?
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 What? We don't have any topics.
That's not your list. That's my list of things we've talked about.
Why do you have that?
So I can do the show notes. People want to hear what we've talked about. So I'm just going to make a list of the things we talked about. Now I got to write down things we talked about. Now we're meta.
Now we're meta.
Well, yeah, we're getting meta.
Now we're officially Homestuck.
Well, we got to think of something to talk about.
On the list of things we talked about is the phrase "things we talked about" because you said that you were talking about the list of things we talked
this
about.
This is getting so made on my head. It's already. Let's talk about Dante Basco.
Why? What did he do now?
Well, he posted all his videos, and I sent him all
Which
podcasts
one?
and all that.
Oh, that's right. He did say he's into podcasts lately and said he's looking for some podcasts to listen to.
Dante Basco, if you'd like to appear in 91 Reasons, just contact me through Facebook or Twitter. Or
You
something.
get it.
I already sent him a Tumblr thing saying to listen to it.
At our Marlon M. Brando.
No, don't do that. You're asking for trouble.
For life, Hong Kong.
But Dante Basco just posted a con video where he actually went to a Homestuck panel. And I was watching it like, wait a second. Where was he at? Was a Homestuck panel?
He's in some little dinky
Portland.
East Coast
He's in
con.
Portland.
A lot of really weird local city cons. Homestucks do panels of Q&A with the characters in cosplay.
Does anybody has Hook and try to kill him? You're not Peter Pan. Oh, it's Rufio again. Rufio, there he is, Rufio. Well, you've gotten quite old, Rufio. Did you leave Wonderland? You got older.
We've seen a few Rufio cosplays, both Homestucks and non-Homestucks.
And him as Homestuck Rufio and not
and
Homestuck.
Dante Basco as Homestuck Rufio.
He recently just posted an image of him in full Rufio outfit saying he was filming something.
What's he filming? Hook 2?
Something. He's in full Rufio outfit.
Well, just so you know, Mr. Smee and Robin or Peter Pan are both dead.
Yeah,
Might
but
make the
Rufio.
sequel a little tough.
But Rufio.
The Rise of Rufio.
It's for his vlog.
Yeah.
Hey, I would go watch that. It sounds great to me.
He has a YouTube channel now. You can watch him play League of Legends.
Why? Who? I don't understand that concept of watching somebody play a video game.
Dante Basco playing a video game.
I can go over to my friend Trent's house where he never lets me play. He's like, hey, check this game out. And I'm like, that's all I can do, Trent, because you never let me play. I once watched him play 2 hours of Jedi Power Battle while I just sat there. And I was like, sure does look like fun. Yeah, it's got a 2-player mode, but it only got 1 controller. Thanks a lot, dude.
But this is Dante Basco, the actor of Rufio.
What is that? Okay. All right.
Bangarang.
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 Yeah, he went into a Homestuck panel they were hosting, and he just quietly sat in the back and watched it.
Yeah.
I like that girl on YouTube we watched, the Australian, was like, well, I met Dante Basco, and he signed my Rufio action figure. That almost sounded like my Hogwarts student. It's me from Hogwarts Hufflepuff. I want to have a Rufio action figure.
We have one. We lost it somewhere.
Yeah, you lost it.
It's my big chest. I gotta find it.
Is that what it is?
Be.
Okay.
I have a big treasure chest in my room full of junk Happy Meals.
It's
gotta
full
be
of
in there.
It's full of 90s Super Mario Bros. Happy Meals. Please don't ask. Anyways, I remember
Like an Anastasia train set.
I used to own all the Hook figures because I wanted something in a thrift store bag, and those were all included. And I'm like, what are these Peter Pan figures? I threw them right in the yard sale, and I literally said to myself, these will never be important in my life again. And that was my biggest thing I ever regretted.
And now you have regret.
And here you
You
are.
wish you had those figures back.
You are constantly tuning into his vlog every day.
Gotta watch him play League of Legends.
You're like, if only I had my Rufio figures
If only I
back.
can go in the past and go,
He has the
hey,
bed sheets.
you know that random action figure?
Yes, you have Rufio bed
You
sheets.
sleep on Rufio.
Yes.
You have your version equivalent of the Jake English body pillow.
Which is my
The
Rufio
Rufio
pellet.
Yeah, you sleep
Rufio.
on Rufio.
Bed sheets.
Are his pants undone like Jake English?
Which also got Robin Williams.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a very talented guy.
And I think Smee's on there at the bottom.
Would you? You know what I would like? I would like a set
that
of
him too?
Homestuck Pez dispensers.
Pez.
Doesn't that
Hussey
sound cool?
Hussey would never sell out
I'm
like
gonna,
that.
I'm gonna put them on Etsy. I'm gonna make them and put them on Etsy. And then when I get the cease and desist, I'm gonna read it on the air.
We don't know what Rachel says.
They
All
just
we know-
disappear.
They disappear.
Yeah, I
And
know.
suddenly she adds their stuff to her pile of confiscated
Yeah.
goods.
She's like, listen, you take that stuff down and I'll cut you. And, you can't say why you're taking them down. You're taking them down because you want to. Like she's all angry.
The literal. She's put it on Twitter before. I saw it before she blocked me. It's a literal.
Before
pile
she
of-
blocked you?
She's only blocked Marlon Brando. I can go on my other accounts.
Not anymore. You just put it on the air, pal.
She doesn't know my private account.
Well, you were saying she had a pile of confiscated
yeah,
Etsy
a literal
materials.
pile of stuff I got from the con.
Oh, from the con. Because I was going to say, if I was selling on Etsy and she tried to shut me
You
down,
wouldn't send it to
I wouldn't
her.
mail it to her. I'm not stupid.
No. She takes keychains and stuff from Con Honest Alley tables.
Oh, that's so mean. DC doesn't do that for Superman.
Now, I don't understand here.
You
Like,
can buy your Thor body pillow at the booth over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jake English over here.
No problem with the
No,
Thor,
no.
Daredevil.
what I don't
doesn't
understand
matter.
is, I get saying you can't sell this because of copyright reasons. Is it legal to just walk up and just take a Cockcat keychain?
Yes, that's called
I'm
shoplifting.
sure she bought it. I'm sure she paid them for it.
No, she didn't.
I'm sure she paid him, and she said, "Does that feel good to make that sale?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, that's great. I mean, I didn't think I'd sell." She was, "That's your last sale, boys. Take him away." And the guy's dragged away in the back,
Yeah.
like Aladdin by the big
And
guards.
they're literally told us, "Oh yeah, we had to take down our Homestuck stuff because the big man came over here and told us to take it all down."
Now, have you considered setting up at a con just for the purpose of
Just-
luring him in?
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, I know, like-
we could.
Like he's like, "I can't believe you're selling this. I want this taken down." You're like, "Could we autograph? You can have the stuff. We just want you to sign this paper."
I need my 6th Andrew Hussey autograph.
Yeah, I mean, you've got his art on your wall.
Yeah, I have his John art. He signed my Namco High poster. He signed my calendar. I have Ryan's thing in multiple comics.
Whatever happened to Bergebug?
Burge, but she went to college. We never heard from her again.
Did she shut down all her art?
No, she's still there. She still updates from time to time.
She's
but
an
she hasn't been
artist.
Doing much.
You were very into that artist. We actually bought some of her art once for you.
She was the #1 Harry Potter and Percy Jackson fan artist.
And they did draw Homestuck fan art.
she drew like one Homestuck thing if you dig through her old archives.
Did she really?
She said she caught up to what the comic was at then, which was like Act 5, Act 2.
It was Act 3.
And then it was they were in God tier.
Oh.
So Act 6 had started. It was 2011. But she said she caught up and then never kept going after that. She never caught up. Never stayed with the updates.
What do you think about that? You're like, lightweight? Get back in it. Stop drawing and studying.
She had more Percy Jackson to read.
Not anymore.
It just ended.
It just ended, pal.
Magnus Chase.
It's over.
The main character's cousin is now with the Norse gods.
And you got the World of Percy Jackson coffee table book signed.
Yeah, signed.
By Reardon.
He's doing another sequel to the coffee table book and another book this year. He's never letting it end.
Just like
Movies
Homestuck.
it did, but he's never letting the books in.
Just like Homestuck.
Well, hey, if it's making money, God bless him.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't want... if they were still making Harry Potter novels, we'd still be buying them.
And I don't think he can think of anything that's not Percy Jackson. His contract with Disney says it needs 2 books a year. And he only does his 2 Percy Jackson books every year.
Well, I would be more than happy to write that kind of contract. That'd be great. Any last things you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
What have we got?
What else is
There was new
happening?
What Pumpkin merch, a few T-shirts, more stuff. It was it's Plasmat's girlfriend, right?
Mhm.
She did a few art for the We Love Fine contest. Only one of her 4 shirts won the contest. So What Pumpkin said, we'll make the other 3 and put them on the website.
And now the What Pumpkin shorts, and now we love fine.
This is an NBC News special report.
This just in, we're going to an update to Sky in the Sky. We just wanted to break in with breaking news. What's the breaking news? Tell us. Well, we've just noticed Andrew Hussey just went into a hardware store. Is he getting stuff to make a video game? Hold on, we're going to try to take her down into the windows to take a look. This is very exciting, ladies and gentlemen. The helicopter is hovering just above the hardware store. It's almost clipped a couple of electrical wires, but they're holding steady. Yeah, we have a full view inside the hardware store. This could be it. We could be finding out. Breaking news right now. Andrew Hussey could be buying transistors, batteries, and all kinds of amazing things to make the video game. This could be it. Okay, we've got an idea what he's up to. All right, tell us, Commander Sky. Tell us. He's having a key made. That's it. Having a key made for his house. Okay, we return you back to studio. Not so much breaking news.
Now, where were we?
Oh, God. We
T-sauce.
almost reached the end here.
Wait, you just now occurred to me.
What?
Because 3 of them are What Pumpkin, one's Wheel of Fine.
Yeah.
Does that mean one's a Wheel of Fine sort and the other 3 are American Apparel sorts with designs printed on them?
I don't know how it works.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know.
What else did they release? Did they add more bafflers?
No more bafflers, but they did do the Wheel of Fine horns are now available at What Pumpkin.
I really hope they bring those to
Terezi and
WonderCon.
Kanaya are now What Pumpkin.
I really hope. Like, my whole costume falls
What
apart if
Pumpkin
they don't have the horns
hasn't
there.
been releasing as much new stuff lately because they've just been uploading all the Topatico and Wheel of Fine stuff onto their main site. That way they can order in bulk and take it to cons.
Yeah. And it seems to be just for cons because there's no reason you should buy Topatico and Wheel of Fine stuff
No.
on What Pumpkin. Because guess what? Their shipping is
Their shipping's
insane.
pretty bad.
Oh
It's
my
all the way,
God.
they're all the way in Florida. At cons, there's no shipping, and they price everything cheaper. And if you go on the last day of the con, everything's on sale.
It's weird because, like, they had the vinyl figures for $20, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this item signed. I really want those vinyl figures, but I'll get them online afterwards. And then I go online, and they're $50.
Yeah. I think they lowered the vinyls down to match con price.
The time to buy is now. Genesis Planet Forbidden.
But yeah, originally when they were first released, the vinyl figures were $45, I think, plus shipping. And at cons, they were, go on the last day, you can get like $25, $45 for 2.
Well, they're not much different than a pop vinyl, so that seems
Yeah.
about right for a specialty item.
Yeah.
They're just trying to gouge you. That's what they do. And at the con, there comes a point at the con where it's like, look, we've got a captive audience here. If we price it right, we might not only make some money, but not have to pack this crap up.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Like,
I
remember,
don't have that luxury because my books are priced at what they're priced, and I can't bring the price
remember
down.
when they made the $15 Saglub pins $1?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the little dollar bowl.
Yeah.
Kickstarter exclusive pins. Spend $20 or more. Little dollar bowl.
It's weird that they had a dollar bowl at such a upscale
Yeah.
table.
And those were Kickstarter only rewards.
Yep.
Not no more, pal.
You had to spend like $25 to get one of those pins
Yeah.
towards a video game.
All right. Well, we'll be at WonderCon. Hopefully, We Love Fine will be there to join us, right?
And What Pumpkin, maybe?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
They don't come out. I mean, they didn't even get to Comic-Con. They got to Comic-Con across the street.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be selling the Kanaya horns I need.
They have an Anime Expo booth.
You know what they should do? They should do a Homestuck Loot Crate.
Yeah.
Loot Crate should partner and put it out.
Well, that would require them getting with Funko, too, because they're all wrapped up in that.
Yeah, well, it would require him signing a few licensees.
Yeah. He's stuck with Happy Worker right now. So they signed with years ago for the Scalemate stuff. But you can tell he's trying to get all the plushies to Wheel of Fine, and there might be some Funko stuff behind the scenes. But you can't tell.
One last thing I do want to talk about before the show ends.
The Jake English body pillow?
No, not that.
We talked enough. It's still up on the screen.
His pants are undone.
A really interesting thing that not a lot of people know. This happened on the Reddit. It was a guy from Hasbro on the Homestuck Reddit. He's part of Hasbro's divisionary of 3D printing. They had it on display at Comic-Con. They have a third-party company, sort of like what LEGO did with Kuso, where they just 3D print Hasbro toys. Like at Comic-Con, they were 3D printing ponies, and they were showing what Hasbro can do with 3D printers with these indie people they've hired. And they actually needed licenses to test to make products of. And they approached Andrew Hussey to make Homestuck toys 3D printed, to test Hasbro's 3D printing. And, of course, Rachel turned them down and said no.
Before I could get to Hussey, they said, if you want to do something like that, you gotta send an email to @whatpumpkin, which is just Rachel. And she said no.
But you say that, and remember another episode you mentioned, you never even seen Rachel.
No.
She may not even exist.
And we've never seen anyone with Hussey at a con.
All we know is whenever something copyright goes down, or whenever we ask, who do all these feedback emails go to? The answer is always, it's Rachel.
And that's it. They just answer the feedback.
There's a few Twitter pictures that may or may not be her.
But this could also be Cindy Juice.
It could also be Cindy. I don't know if we know what each one looks like.
Here's what I think. Cindy has a matching icon with Hussey.
Yes.
And has conformed, according to the MSPA forums about 4 years ago, they were dating Hussey, right?
Yes.
I think that's Hussey's fiance. I think Rachel is just an alt account of Hussey. I really think Rachel is Hussey.
All we know is Cindy is still in the picture. She's really high up at What Pumpkin, and her Twitter has been offline for years. But
So she could be Rachel?
Rachel's been active. Became active about the same time. There was no Rachel in the Team Special Olympics days. She didn't show up until What Pumpkin.
So maybe what you're saying is that Rachel, Hussey's fiance, is the ultimate riddle.
Maybe. She's the meaning of his life. So
That's right.
That's it.
Who torn
She's
down
Vriska.
Who torn down Hasbro? Who torns down Hasbro? Come on, Hasbro.
Nobody. They made a lot of crap.
Like, if Hasbro came up and said, Jeff Tucker, we need to test any licenses. We'd like to test out the 6 key.
Yes, I would sign right away.
But then we gotta go to Happy Worker and get the...
Yeah.
I don't know.
How come Hussey goes to Happy Walker, which is another indie action figure company, and decides to order Homestuck vinyls from them?
One word, control.
Yeah.
Control.
Controlling the license.
Happy Worker, he just buys in bulk whenever he runs low.
Right.
If he did Funko or Wheel
Hasbro.
of Fine or Hasbro, it'd be they control how much they produce and where it's shipped to.
Look at what it did. Look at what Funko and other licensors did to what's his name from Adventure Time. Pendleton Ward.
Yeah.
Pendleton Ward quit because it became too much for him.
He drove him away from the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing he created.
He couldn't handle any more video games and kids' T-shirts and action figures. It was too much. We just wanted to make a show.
Yeah, well, they wanted to make an empire. They all want to make an empire. Except Hussey. He just wants to make a webcomic.
But it's odd that,
and occasionally talk about making a video game.
Yeah.
There's-
Rapture's coming. He says he's doing a thing that'll make Homestuck live forever.
Yeah, and we've already got Mort's constantly being released, 6 video games planned, and apparently like 4 or 5 Paradox Space updates a day eventually.
Months, but we don't see that.
Yeah.
Paradox Space doesn't even do double weeks anymore.
Yeah.
They did 2 of those in total.
And
they don't even do alt text on the comics anymore. That was the best part.
The alt text was amazing. Put the alt text back, please. Come on. That's what made the comics.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any final summations for this episode before we wrap it up?
I think we went over everything that's happened.
That was about it.
It was another turbulent week in Homestuck land.
Yeah, week of we're in the middle of the hiatus. There's nothing going on, and there's still all this crazy stuff happening.
Bye to be or to not to be?
on Steam.
Yes.
Even if you did fast forward the spoiler part, because
Try
you
to
might have
collect
done.
the trading cards.
Yeah.
You only get 5 out of 10, and no one's selling theirs in the market, so there's no way to get the other 5 yet.
Do you have a handle on Steam if somebody wanted to buy one of your hats?
Your hats.
Go my fries.
Gunt, G-U-N-T, my, F-R-I-E-S, fries. Gunt my fries, purveyor of fine hats.
I am actually trying to sell a pair of boots right now.
Oh, tell us more about this pair of boots.
For 8 pieces of metal, you can have a pair of boots. Now, this pair of boots normally costs 3 cents, but I'm charging over $1. But guys, listen, this is a special version. These boots count how many opponents you've stomped and flattened and killed. See,
And that's worth a 97-cent upgrade.
it is, because it counts how many enemies you've landed on top of and
Technically,
killed
that's
them.
less, because the only way to get these boots is to buy a key for $2.50 and open a chest and have a crate and have it randomly get the boots.
This is from the 5 key crate. This was a special crate.
Yeah.
So this item was originally 5 keys, and 5 keys. What's
About $10.
It's about $10. This was
no one cares
$10,
about it.
but there was so little.
Two economies based on hype, not
Yeah.
quantity.
There was so little interest in this pair of boots that it dropped from $10 to $1. So now only $1 for a pair of boots that counts how many people you've killed.
Thank you for
What a
that
deal!
that sales pitch.
There's only like 200 robotic legs in the world, and they're worthless. But there's thousands and thousands of earbuds, and earbuds are worth $40 each.
Well, listen, they're earbuds,
No,
virtual earbuds.
This is my master plan. I don't think you guys understand.
Please
You gotta
spill it.
afford to get the Homestuck game for free.
These robotic legs, I have a bunch of them. I'm going to monopolize the market in
He'll own
these.
every single pair of robotic legs in the game.
I'm gonna own every pair, so there won't be any.
He's gonna be Lord English with robotic legs.
It's an item that gnaws off your like right leg and gives you a robotic
You're up
one.
to your neck in robotic legs. Like it's like Dave and the Pile of Smuppets, but it's just you with Lord English's leg.
Hey, this is an actual tournament team fortress called banking, where you basically buy all the limited hats and bank
Wait
on
for
them.
to go up.
And I do that a lot. I have a lot.
boy.
Like, if I know there's a hat that I think's gonna be well, I'm gonna buy a ton of them. Like right now, there's a hat that I recommend investing your money in. The Professionals Yusenkai.
I
I'm gonna
Speaking
invest
of
in those.
Steam, I
We make
also
so much
updated my
money.
Gmod pack this week. That has 3 new items in there.
We've
There's-
never talked about that in the podcast.
We haven't. Oh boy. Do we have time or should we save that?
Save it for next week.
Save it.
Because we're over an hour already.
That's a
Write it down
hour-long
on the list back
thing
there.
to talk
It
about.
is on the list. We just never got to it.
Hey, here's how we're gonna close the show a little differently. Instead of thanking all the thousands of things and plugs about leaving a review on iTunes and my books on Amazon and Patreon, and we just started a Kickstarter page for my book, which is The Infinite Backward. I'm not going to mention that. Instead, we're going to talk about the fact that you guys have very cool 91 Reasons Homestuck flavored business cards.
Yeah.
You're going to be handing them out at WonderCon, but we're going to put this out there for all of our Homestuck brothers and sisters and non-binary fans and gender fluid people around the world. If you would like a free 91 Reasons Austin and Luna Homestuck business card, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to 91 Reasons Austin and Luna 4064 Lockhaven Lane. That's Lockhaven Lane, Riverside, California, 92505, United States. Put an envelope in there, like I said, self-addressed with a stamp so that we don't have to pay anything. And we will open it. We will send you back one of our business cards free of charge.
Yeah. We're also going to be passing them at WonderCon. I'm going to hand these things out like cheap cigars.
You're right. All right, so thanks for listening. I am Jeff.
I'm Austin.
I'm Luna.
And together we are 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening? You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Homestuck episode of 91 Reasons. I'm your co-host, Austin, and this is my other co-host.
I'm Luna.
And, of course, our main host. Can you introduce yourself?
No, I'm not the main host. For the purposes of the Homestuck episodes, I'm the moderator. I'm the guy in the background. I am your ghost host. I'm the one who says, keep your hands and arms inside the doom buggy at all times. You're the ones leading us on this journey. I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice of 91 Reasons, but once a week, we let the show get hijacked and taken over by people with gray skin and candy corn horns and horoscope-themed shirts, which is what you guys were doing this week, right? Making cosplay costumes.
Yeah, we gotta make another Zodiac suit to get ready for WonderCon.
Yeah, I saw your mom was up diligently painting one of your shirts. And go ahead, explain your cosplay. Unveil it for the world.
Oh, I'll be going as Kanaya Mariam to WonderCon. Not the Rainbow Drinkle version, just normal troll Kanaya.
Which is, what does that entail for those? Because, you know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we have a lot of people who listen to these episodes who are regular 91 Reasons subscribers, who are my age, my generation, and they listen to these out of curiosity. So you sometimes have to spoon feed what the heck you're talking about because they have no idea. Like if I said I stopped at a payphone, you'd go, what? So in the same way that I would have to explain what a payphone is, where you put money into a phone and you get to make a phone call. You have to stand there because it's corded. You have to explain, who are you going as?
Kanaya Mariam.
Kanaya Mariam. Who is Kanaya Mariam?
Well, she's a very unique troll because unlike the other trolls, she isn't nocturnal. She can go out in the daylight without her skin getting burned to death. So she spends most of her day in the daylight doing topiary with her giant chainsaw, and later in the comic using the chainsaw to battle. And she becomes a rainbow drink. Oh, this is a spoiler alert, actually.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Something that happened like 3 or 4 years ago in the comic, but still spoiler alert. She becomes a rainbow drinker, which is basically the troll version of a vampire that drinks blood. And which is kind of ironic because her special ability is she can go out in the daylight and she becomes a vampire. But she has a chainsaw. She wears a Zodiac t-shirt with Virgo on it. That's her Zodiac logo. And that's about it. She likes fashion, which is actually, I just remember that. She actually is the only troll who likes fashion, because trolls don't care about fashion, and this is one of the things that a lot of people I've seen skip over. It is literally stated in comic that trolls don't care about fashion. This is why Nepido wears a dirty old army jacket around. Like, they don't care. It is directly said in canon that Carcat's entire wardrobe is just a Zodiac t-shirt over and over and over again, because they don't like to mix things up. Trezzy, too, just has the same t-shirt. They don't care about fashion, but Kanaya has like 1,000 different outfits he switches between, which is kind of odd because he sticks in one outfit for thousands of pages, and then there'll be some scenes where he keeps switching it constantly. Yeah, so she gets stuck in one outfit, right?
That's all right. Bart Simpson's been wearing that same T-shirt and shorts since 1989. Earlier, if you count the Tracy Ullman shorts.
But this is a character who likes to switch clothes and constantly change outfits.
Well, not by definition of somebody who never changes clothes. Speaking of which, we just celebrated co-host Luna's 18th birthday. 18th birthday, everybody. And how many costume changes, Austin, did you make during his birthday party?
About 12.
About 12 costume changes. Every single one of your troll Homestuck inspired outfits you wore.
Yes.
Why?
Because I like to wear cosplay. I think it's fun to dress up as the characters.
And who are you dressing up as for WonderCon?
Kanaya Mariam.
Now, Kanaya Mariam's a girl character, and you're going to cross-gender it to be a boy.
No.
What?
I'm just going to wear pants with the outfit instead of a dress. A lot of people who, like, cross-gender it do that, but I'm not really swapping the gender. Here's the thing. To trolls, gender is literally meaningless. They don't care about it because they don't care about fashion. They don't have gender rules. That wasn't a problem. Hussey directly says that. And that was actually a problem of Bephoris, which is another troll planet in an alternate universe. That planet actually did have gender problems and characters who rebelled against society. But from what we can tell from the pixels of the video game, everything, literally outfits, what you did was separated by blood color rather than gender. That's what we can tell from it, the game concept artwork, where he's going with this. Because in the comic, they just sort of all wear blank, either gray skirt or gray pants with a t-shirt.
And you're just going to wear pants.
Yeah.
But that doesn't signify male.
Not really. I mean, all the trolls. You can't. If a person looked at the trolls, it would be hard to tell what gender they are because it doesn't matter. You know.
Well, it depends on who's drawing it, because some drawings they're just little blobby, pop vinyl looking guys.
The canon.
But if you look at artist renderings, outside artists, they doll them up.
Yeah, but in canon, he's never drawn a troll with any engendered anatomy. No. Even Carcat in canon, was it Carcat, says that trolls' bodies are not different. They all have the same exact body and reproductive organs. And that's one of the things that people really forget, because they go, a lot of people bring up the topic of male and female trolls, despite the fact that in canon, that is denied. Trolls don't have different reproductive organs. They're all exactly the same.
Now, are you aware that while you're talking, while you're doing this show, that people around the world are listening and yelling at you because they like to tell you, like, no, that's not what it says. That's not what it says. And recently this week you had people approach you online and take you to task for some of your conclusions. Is that correct statement, Austin?
This happened on a Gary's Mod server, and they don't know I do this, so I've never told them about it, which I really should tell them. Maybe I should put it in my Steam description that I'm part of.
It would be another way for people to hate you.
Yeah. But I got in a huge argument over God tier speculation. God tier speculation is just saying you get wrapped up in it. Oh, God. So basically in the comic, characters have god tiers.
They have a class.
It's a class. It's the role they're assigned to. And basically in the game, and when you get to a high enough point, this gives you superpowers. And each character has their own special class, such as for example, some classes could be Thief of Blood, or, what's another one? Bard of Void. Like, these are just random examples.
There's 12 aspects and 14 classes.
Yeah. So, one of the things brought up is by Calliope, who's one of the characters. This character is basically a parody. One of the aspects of this character is that they're a parody of the side of the fandom that makes theories. Throughout the comic, they tend to make theories that turn out to be false, such as Dork having troll fairy wings when they go god tier, or her book being Caliborn's, despite the fact that it was really Rose's book, as far as we can tell. So he runs around, and all the theories are wrong, but he does it because he thinks it's fun to make theories. One of the theories he tells Dork is that God tier classes are based on your gender. C tells Dork, you're a prince because you're male. God tier classes are determined on your gender. But this doesn't really matter, because we see Kankri later on become a seer. And a seer is one of the classes that was believed to be gendered, because it requires wearing a dress and high heels. Yet one of the characters who identifies as a boy and says he before the name wears that. And this person was arguing with me that gender has everything to do with god tier class. And I'm like, but it doesn't. It really doesn't, because we've never seen a class that's restricted to one gender, and a lot of people are going to bring up Prince. We've never seen a gold Prince before. This is where Andrew Hussey comes in. He said on Twitter that god tier and gender have nothing to do with each other, and that is ridiculous. He said that on Twitter. Those are the words of the author. You can look it up yourself. He said that. And I go by Hussey. And this guy was arguing that he says, don't go by Hussey on Twitter. Go by Calliope in the comic, because Hussey wrote that and meant that. He was basically saying that when an author writes a character saying a thing, the author means that thing. And I don't like that at all. That's like when someone takes a J.K. Rowling quote and say J.K. Rowling said it. But he didn't say that like Dumbledore said that. I see this all the time. People take Harry Potter quotes and put J.K. Rowling at the bottom. Because a character says something doesn't mean the writer means that. Like, a villain can have awful opinions, but that doesn't mean the author's going to be like that. They're just writing that to make the villain seem menacing. Calliope makes all these bad theories, but none of them were actually true, and they've all been debunked in Canada at some point, and Hussey said otherwise. Who do you go by? Andrew Hussey saying it on Twitter and in person? Or Andrew Hussey writing a fictional character who's known for making bad theories making a bad theory? Who are you supposed to trust? Well, the guy basically said to trust Calliope more. But I'm like, but Hussey said it on Twitter. Just because Hussey writes Calliope saying something doesn't mean that Andrew Hussey means that exact thing. Where do you stand?
Well, I stand the example I would simply use. I mean, you could use George Lucas, and that would be easy. Because if you go by George Lucas, the Force is not a religion. It's a measurable scientific thing about little creatures, midichlorians who live in your body and somehow amplify and do your bidding by moving objects, i.e. Luke's lightsaber in the Wampa Cave, blah, blah, blah. So if you go by that, no. Now, the author doesn't always know best or everything, and sometimes outside forces are better. But a good example to use in this case would be Fight Club. Fight Club, the novel written by Chuck Palahniuk, is a gritty, dark, male-centered fantasy about young men who have not done anything great with their lives, have dead-end jobs, so they decide to start a club where they basically meet every Friday night and beat the crap out of each other. And that morphs into them pulling pranks. And that morphs into them finally blowing up a big credit union so that they can set everybody's credit rating back to 0 and nobody has any debt. Do I believe that Chuck Palahniuk wants to do all that? No, absolutely not. In fact, I believe Chuck Palahniuk is gay. So this giant book that a lot of guys hold up as like the ultimate symbol of manhood, like, man, Fight Club, man, badass. It was written by a gay guy. No, it wasn't. No way. Yeah, actually it was.
Yeah.
So sometimes people can step outside what you think they're capable of and come up with a fictional universe. And it doesn't mean that Chuck Palahniuk is endorsing either beating the crap out of each other or rolling a giant metal sculptured ball into a Starbucks, which they do in the movie. So, yes, sometimes you have to separate the creator from the creation. They don't always understand it. And they don't always use it as a mouthpiece. Now, that's not always the case. Look at Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand was using Atlas Shrugged as a platform. So you could find examples on both sides of this. But if you've got a living creator who is aggressively and actively speaking to the fandom, such as Andrew Hussey, then you are obligated to take his word for it since he's the creator. And if the characters go against what he's saying, he's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
So either he's doing it on purpose or guess what, kids? He changed his mind. And we'll use George Lucas again. Because Luke and Leia are not brother and sister until Return of the Jedi is midway through filming. In Star Wars and Empire, Luke and Leia are a love interest maybe. They're not brother and sister. Leia plants one on him so big when he's laying in the bed after the Wampa attack that it's not funny. She also plants a giant one when they swing across the Death Star chasm. In Return of the Jedi, suddenly they're brother and sister. That's somebody who has what? Changed his mind. So that's what's going on there.
And it's worth noting that Calliope said that about, 3 years ago in the comic?
Yeah.
And Andrew Hussey said this about, 3 months ago?
Last summer.
Last summer. Last summer is something better to go by than when Calliope's character was first introduced.
Yeah.
And this exact problem was relevant in the fandom before Caliban's character progressed and he became a better person. Back when he was making fun of Jane, wasn't it? People thought Andrew Hussey... I remember that being a big problem. People thought that because Caliban was saying sexist things, Andrew Hussey meant that.
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge problem.
A wild, mega pause. That was a mega pause.
During the mega pause, before Caliban's character had developed and he became a real likable character and is slowly turning into one, he used to be, when he was introduced, a very, very rude sexist character. On purpose, because he's the villain, you're supposed to hate him. People thought because Caliban said this, and they were awful, and people were so offended when they read this, because they thought Andrew Hussey meant that towards them. Because there's a point in the comic where Caliban is just making fun of Jane.
The villain was mean, so that means the author's mean too.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
That's what everyone thought.
Hitler appears in Last Crusade doesn't mean Steven Spielberg likes Hitler. You know, Darth Vader kills children. It doesn't mean George Lucas wants to kill children.
Thankfully, Caliban has become a better character now, and this is not an issue in the fandom at all. Nobody even mentions it.
I don't know what has happened to Caliban, man. I think he's
Caliban's character has definitely gone somewhere.
He's become Andrew Hussey.
He's become Andrew Hussey. He has become a parody of the story's own author.
Parody of the bad side of the fandom. He's become a parody of Andrew Hussey. We don't get it.
And this brings up the Calliope thing I just mentioned. Calliope is a parody of the good side of the fandom that likes to speculate about God tier and make theories, while Caliban is a parody of the bad side of the fandom that makes not safe for work art.
Yeah.
And those are the two sides of the fandom being parodied here.
Yeah. We have a special guest here. Come on in here and say hello.
Hello.
We have Josie here, your sister. Do you have any Homestuck information you'd like to give us this week?
No.
No.
So what the hell are you doing here?
To listen.
To listen. We'll get out of here. We're trying to do a show, kid.
Let's continue the show now.
Josie is not canon, just so you know.
I have a head canon. He was in the show a lot.
Oh, don't bring up your head canon. It doesn't count. Your head canon doesn't count.
But in my head canon, the whole show was about horses. It was this great story. I should write this down. It's my head canon.
Yeah, that's great. We should talk about you were playing Team Fortress and something happened to you.
Yes, I
Austin.
was.
Go ahead.
I was approached by someone, and when I see someone, the first thing I think of, because when I see someone I don't recognize that I haven't been with in the Homestuck areas much, so but the first thing I think of is it's either someone who wants to trade with me or someone's going to try and scam my TF2 items. Because recently I have been so active on trade sites and rising up to attempt to be a big trader that every day I get all these people trying to scam me.
They all have Homer Simpson as their profile
Okay,
picture.
we're gonna go a little off topic here, but every one of them is Homer Simpson as their avatar pixel. Like every day I log into Steam and there's 20 more people with the same pixel of Homer Simpson trying to scam me out of my account. And they all have generic names, Lewis, Thomas, Jerry, and they all have Homer's pixel. This weird image of Homer Simpson's, his eyes are all dazed. And they all keep adding me. Like I get Steam notifications, another 10 Homer Simpsons trying to scam my account.
It could be worse. It could be Dragon Ball Z Homer.
Oh,
That guy that cosplays at all the conventions.
every convention.
Every
Just
convention.
imagine that guy opening his closet and going, I got it. I got the
Every
outfit. I
con.
never have to worry about what I'm going to wear ever again.
This person added me, and I'm like, oh, how can I help you? That's my salesman pitch right there. And they actually said they were a fan of the show. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really? And they wanted to give me something, and oh my god, it's really...
name for such a thing
Yes, I would like to give a huge thank you to GameKiller48 for donating Team Fortress items for me. Because with these items, I can start as like a base to really start rising up in the trading community, and hopefully get bigger. Thank you so much for your donation. I take it as a donation towards the show, really, because it just means so much to me. It really does.
Well, that's great. That means that people are listening to you and enjoying it and wanting to somehow take a part. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it,
No, because we're doing the show to try to get to people, to try to start a dialogue and a conversation. And if that's his way of doing it, then that's fantastic, you know?
Yeah, and they are actually pretty big in the trading community. And I went to go look at their profile. They do have some Counter-Strike workshop submissions I saw, and I recommend you vote for them because... Really, I recommend you vote for their weapons.
Because
to
you've
get
been
in.
bribed, is what you're saying. You should vote for them because, why? Their platform or what they believe in? They gave me free stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
They gave me a donation towards the show.
Yeah.
And I sort of felt guilty accepting it. Like, should I be accepting money as
well,
a
why
donation?
not? You would insult them if you didn't accept it.
Would
They'd be
I?
like, what a jerk, you didn't take my free hats. What's wrong with free hats,
You get
man?
Keys.
Oh, you gave keys, not hats.
Keys
Yeah.
are worth like 10 hats each.
Oh, but wait a minute.
I think they're up to 15 hats each.
What? How does the? Well, okay, wait a minute. Pretend I don't know anything about Team Fortress, which is easy to do because I don't. What's the lowest form of currency?
Weapons.
Scrap metal. No, weapons.
Weapons.
Weapons
you
is
get-
the lowest form
Yes.
of currency.
Weapons you get as a random drop. You get 10 free every week. 2 weapons makes a scrap. 3 scraps makes a reclaimed, and 3 reclaimed makes a refined. Keys, which are $2.50 in the store, are right now at about 15 refined metal. Hats are 1 to 2 refined, more for their rare hats.
Sometimes I get hats with .88.
Yeah, hats are
Metal.
getting really cheap lately. Refined's failing. Refined used to be like a quarter each. Now they're like 16 cents of refined
And
metal.
considering the inflation of keys right now, I would say if you bought a key at this moment and just wanted to get some metal quickly, you could trade in for about 14 to 15 hats.
Yeah.
How many knuts make a sickle? How many sickles make a galleon? Does that not work?
And then if you really want to go into the Team Fortress economy, you factor in earbuds, Bill's hats,
Yeah.
and Man Up tickets, which are more forms of currency. There are some items, some hats, then this hat is so popular, and people want this hat so much, that it becomes a currency. Like, I'll give you 5 of this exact hat for this. That hat has become a form of money.
Yeah.
Like earbuds. And
Earbuds. They came out if you signed in Team Fortress on Linux when it was first launched. And now those earbuds are worth about $30 each. On the trading...
And you're not talking real earbuds. You're talking about a virtual item in a game. It does not exist in any way, shape, or form except as pixels.
But people put hundreds of dollars into buying 20 earbuds.
And they can invest in this hat. Or another one is Bill's hat.
Unusual hats.
But you guys are aware that Virtual Magic Kingdom did this, where people had full houses of all these items they had traded, they had bought, they had gone to the park to get, and then one day Disney pulled the plug on it.
They just said it's gone. Go
but
home.
You see this happening with Team Fortress? One day they just pull the plug because everything is popular and then it goes away.
There's rumors, there's plans to move it onto the Source 2 engine. They're making a whole new engine for the new Left 4 Dead and supposedly the new Half-Life 3.
Confirmed.
But they're trying to, instead of making Team Fortress 3, they're just going to pick up Team Fortress 2 and move it to the new engine.
Move every hat.
There's the chance that it's just going to completely crash and just be gone forever.
And
they're preparing for the worst.
They've gotten scared to the point where every item that comes out is a special limited quantity.
Yeah.
And there's
every item that's come out for about a year now says limited in the name. And it's saying you will not be able to get these again. And the gimmick with limited is you can sell them in the marketplace to get money back, so you're not stuck with the hat.
Yeah, but isn't that a catchphrase or a slogan they put on everything? Like, I've seen Star Wars figures that are like limited edition. Well, that means like 10 mil.
Well, here's the thing.
And this is something where there's no factory making this. The guy at the Team Fortress studio makes one, and then he copies and pastes the code, and that's it.
They don't actually make the items. The community does.
The community makes the items.
You have to help me figure this out.
Okay.
I am old. I do not understand a virtual currency of any kind except PayPal. But I just don't understand, like, why is this a thing? Why do you care? Can't you just play the game with the items that you're given? Why is it so much better to have
this thing to show off?
Hats. You can have cool outfits.
Unusuals are the best. Unusuals, you get a fiery effect or planets floating around you, and those could be upwards of hundreds of dollars.
This must be a generation gap, because I would never pay extra for planets to float around me. I don't understand.
An extra $100. You could pay 4 cents.
I have a story.
$100.
I have a story I saw on Face Punch, which is my favorite Team Fortress community. Yeah. It was this guy, and he decided to buy a key for $250, and he actually didn't trade in the key for hats. He used it. What you can do with keys, you can use them on a crate and randomly get any hat in that crate series, or an unusable. He opened it up for $250, and he got an unusable hat that he sold for $700 and did all his Christmas shopping with one hat.
I don't know what that says about we as a race.
But you
I don't understand why a different coded item would be worth $700. It's not like a hat that you have in your closet. It's not a hat that somebody made with care. It's pixels. Why are pixels worth anything?
Because you can make your characters look nice and dress them up.
You only have a 1% chance of getting that when you open a crate. And it costs $2.50 to open a crate.
$2.15 to get a hat.
By that math, all unusual should be about $250. Because that's how much you'll have to spend to get one.
And using that math, most Team Fortress items would be $250 each. But the problem is Team Fortress's community is not based on quantity or how you get items, but based on hype.
Yeah.
If an item comes out for $100, but it's a dumb item, it's going to be $1 by the next day. That's how it works.
But the base reason why they're valuable is arbitrary. It's set by the people. It's set by the guys who run the game. So it shouldn't have any worth. Like the people who drill for oil and make gasoline set the rate, but I have no control because I have to have it. If I don't have gas in my car, I can't go anywhere. That's a tangible gallon of item. But I could still play the game without the $250 hat.
So you can't see it. It's first person.
If you buy...
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, my God.
What?
Are you telling me that you don't even see the hat you're wearing?
No, other people see it.
Oh, my God.
You can see it when you taunt.
This might be the dumbest thing you have ever talked about. A virtual item that you yourself don't even see.
Yeah. You see it in the loadout screen.
You see it on the character select menu and when you taunt.
I am in the wrong business.
The best part, if there's a cosmetic that's like gloves for your character, it doesn't show up in first person. You still see the generic hands.
But everybody else sees.
Everyone else sees the gloves.
Well, that's a glitch in the game. They should at least let you see the crap that you're virtually buying.
It was just Valve coded this in 2007, and fixing it would be too much trouble.
The game's 8 years old if we haven't mentioned that, by the way. And You can
You guys boggle my mind with
Yeah.
what you spend your time with.
But we're all crossing our fingers. There's gonna be Homestuck promo items.
Yes, that would be so amazing. Like, imagine getting a genuine Zillyhoo, genuine
Also, any
Trollhorns.
kind of big game comes out on Steam. They add a few items into Team Fortress 2 as an advertisement.
All I want is a Cockhat Scout outfit.
So you're anticipating that when Andrew Hussey finally releases the Homestuck game, that there will be some sort of cross promotion on Team Fortress.
Yeah.
You'll be able to buy these virtual
If you-
Homestuck
Yes.
items.
Yes.
Because the game is coming out.
Yeah.
You guys are so optimistic. I say that every episode.
But you don't
That
understand.
game's never coming out.
But yeah.
But
no. Everyone on Hussey's team, if you view their Steam profiles, they have hundreds of hours in Team Fortress 2.
And they have unusuals, and they're in the big trading
and we
business.
know that Hussey has been in contact with Valve before because they turned him down on producing the game.
And we know that Valve loves to reference Homestuck a lot.
Yeah, there's multiple Homestuck references in Team Fortress.
They also have, like, for example, there's a heavy item, and the description just goes to this long rant about Con Air.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Valve,
Con
like,
Air.
if you
Con Air.
watch expiration date, they
make a bucket
they make a
joke.
bucket joke.
The Team Fortress animated short episode they made, it was a promo for Adult Swim but never made it on TV. They make a Homestuck bucket joke.
And this was supposed to air in 2012 when buckets were the big thing in the
Yeah.
fandom. So it would have made sense to have that joke at the time, even.
We also have to highlight our Patreon page, which you go to patreon.com, Patreon, and search 91 Reasons, and the page will come up. We got a nice $35 pledge from our first fully Homestuck dedicated listener, whose name is what?
Whisker Circuit.
So a celebrity, an actual character from the comic, pledged on our Patreon.
Pretty
Let's
big
hear it up for
character.
Vriska.
He's a pretty big character.
What gender is Vriska? Neither?
Well, they use the C pronouns, but once
She,
again,
her pronouns and
it hardly mouse for the trolls, and you could hardly tell. Whisker, I think, is the only troll that there's like 2 panels where Hussey drew her feminine. That's it. And I know a lot of people are going to bring up Mina Bound, where all the characters are drawn with male and female body types, but those are not drawn by
You're
Hussey.
telling kids Jane is drawn female.
Just so she can look different from John.
Yeah. She has to be.
But Vriska pledged enough, and when that pledge goes through at the end of February, we will be watching something that Vriska would like us to watch, which is Homestuck Act 1
By the Collab HQ.
by Collab HQ. We'll watch, we'll give you a full review on that on the show based off the Patreon pledge. So that is a definite way to reach into the show and say, do what I ask you to do and do what I want. And we have no problem with that because all that money goes directly to producing the show, buying the bandwidth and the hosting. And we're going to get some new microphones and all kinds of stuff. So we really appreciate everybody who's pledging on Patreon, which is really a great way to help the show. If you don't have the money, we don't care. It doesn't matter to us. You can also just tell your friends. You can share the links. You can go to iTunes and give us a review. You don't have to spend money. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing it because you guys love this webcomic and you wanted to share your knowledge and love with people around the world. And it is like, talk just a minute about what does it mean to not only have somebody give you these amazing virtual items, but cold hard cash that they worked hard for directly to you guys because you're doing this show. What does that mean?
A lot. Like when Game Killer 48 gave me those keys, it means like, oh my goodness. First off, this is an amazing donation. Second off, I'm doing something right. I'm doing a good job on this show. Like, people actually like listening to me, and that means a lot.
Yeah, it's weird there's actual people listening right now in the future to us.
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah, well, the show's not live. They're not listening
Yeah.
right now. Well, the CIA is, but not the fans yet. This episode will go up Wednesday night. We're recording this early, folks, just so you know time frame. If something big happens in Homestuck, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday,
We'll cover it
the
the next
reason
week.
we're not talking about it, like if Hussey were to release the game or go on Twitter, the reason we're not talking about it is actually this is Sunday night. We're recording this episode early because we're headed to where?
Vegas.
Las Vegas, Homestuck capital of the world. Not really, but we're going for a little mini vacation, and we're going to be back. We wanted to make sure we had an episode ready to go the minute we return, so that we're not exhausted and sitting down into an episode. Because this way, you get us fresh. We're ready to go. But that's the only reason, if something major happened, why we're not talking about it, because we're doing it in advance. We're time traveling.
Yeah. I have something I want to bring up. Can I?
It's your show.
Can I bring us back on the Valve train? We're not going to go into the Hatland at Team Fortress. Today we're going to go somewhere totally different, into Gary's mod.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about Gary's mod a lot because of Baby Fondling's Homestuck playset, which is amazing, by the way. Please download it. But I actually want to talk about a different Homestuck Gary's mod thing that was just released. And for those of you confused right now, Gary's mod is basically a version of Half-Life 2, the popular video game, that is a sandbox where you can spawn any Half-Life prop, character, or level you want and do whatever you want. Or you can go online and play with people who play as the Half-Life characters and do stuff. However, you can create whatever you want and put it into the game. Like, for example, Baby Fondling's made all the Homestuck characters to play as and ported them over into the game. So now you can play as all the Homestuck characters that they modeled. And I want to talk about the Homestuck Model Pack, which is another Homestuck add-on created by
me,
Luna, from the show, who created a Homestuck Gary's mod pack.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what this pack is.
I released it last November and have been updating, trying once a month since then. I've been practicing 3D modeling, so I basically just made Homestuck objects and a few settings and ported them into the source engine, which isn't easy. It's not easy. Valve's pipeline's crazy.
It's technology from 1998.
Yeah, they haven't updated the source engine for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of what are we at? We have 20 models now, probably a little over that. I haven't counted.
The smaller models, like the cherub lollipop or the hussy horse fighting a football player painting. There's also larger props like Carcats with Koopa-Coon, the fourth wall with multiple skins you can go in between.
Yeah, you can make it so it's Hussy or John or Shrek.
And the most recent thing you released is Calliope Stades.
Yeah, I released the full stage. It's only half done right now, but I put it in how it is anyway.
And what is it like making these?
It's difficult. And it took me about a month, a little over a month, to get it all down, how to do it from scratch. And then I've just been slowly learning things since then, as I needed them.
There's actually a Homestuck server I love to go on called Cuddlefish & Co., which is basically a really popular Homestuck Gary's mod server that is constantly full of people. And they have decided to use Luna's Homestuck model pack on the server.
A few Homestuck servers have my pack loaded in.
And
Cuddlefish is the one we use because it's local.
What is it like when you go in there? They're just messing around with your props.
Messing with my stuff, yeah. Like people make stuff with my stuff. There's a pack which is you can edit who you're playing as, so they use my props and their characters. There, you can make dupes, or you make little scenes to set up and save them. People use my stuff in that. It's all really cool.
People are doing virtual photo shoots with your items all the time.
Yeah.
They're role playing with your items.
I try to make my items, some are aimed for role play and some are aimed for picture taking. I've been trying to make them both now. It's not easy to do.
When you first made the pack, you made it photo-oriented.
It was photo-oriented.
A lot of the items were one-sided. You couldn't see the other side.
There was no back to them, or they were only good from a certain angle.
You could clip right through them.
Yeah, they didn't have good collisions, that kind of stuff.
But then you realized that when you Cuddlefish enabled
I thought people
it,
would want to take pictures with them. But no, people want to play with them.
They want to mess around with them and role play. And
so now I had to go back in and make them all do stuff.
And now you're trying to make more interactive props, like a stage you can go on or a bed you can sleep in.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I haven't learned coding yet. You have to learn certain types of coding to get them to actually animate and do stuff.
But they're still props made for play with.
Yeah, I can do animated textures.
They're made that you can make dupes and use them in pack and that type of thing.
I just make the model. You guys are supposed to rig them up and make stuff with them.
Is there anything else you want to say about your modeling experiences?
I don't know, huh?
Do you want to reveal anything you're working on? I know you have like 10 major secret projects in the works right now.
Yes, I'm currently learning how to do player models for a secret reason. I'm not going to say it because it may not never happen. I don't want to get people excited. But I am for sure working on a map.
I'm not going to say what it is. I know you want to keep it a secret.
There's a preview picture on my Tumblr that you can find on my Steam page. It's Become It Makes Things.
.tumblr.com.
Yeah. And I haven't said what the map is, but if you see it, you should be able to figure it out. It's not textured yet, but it looks pretty good.
I've seen it, and it looks pretty nice for what you have so far.
I'm hoping to have the basic layout of the map done by early March or late February, and I'll do a private beta testing for it before I do any of the art passes.
And how would you do this beta testing? How would you do this?
I'm gonna look into how the workshop works. I think it's if you're friends with the person. I don't know if that's how I want to set it up, or else I may just do a topic on the Reddit that links to a Dropbox to download it. Just something small.
And when this map is finally finished, this full Homestuck roleplay map of a secret setting, are you going to try and approach the giant Homestuck server and try and say, will you play on my map?
Gonna put it up, and I'm gonna put in the Cuttlefish suggestion thread. I'm sure they'll put it in. It's their type of thing. There hasn't been a new Homestuck map for years.
Yeah,
Super Mario 64 guy and what's his name?
Kizzy-Cola.
They disappeared last summer. They were working on all kinds of stuff. Then last summer they disappeared.
They had big projects planned. I know those images on the internet of unfinished. I don't know if
and Hella Jeff 2.
No.
Right?
There's another one that not a lot of people know about. This image is really buried in
Which
Steam.
one?
Full roleplay prospect. I've seen pictures of
You've
it.
seen a prospect? I've heard of Trade Loak. There's supposed to be a TF2 trade map of Dave's planet, but I've never seen pictures. It's just floating around.
Apparently, before we got into this, like back in 2011, back when Homestuck was in its early days, when it hadn't gotten super popular, there was not a Gary's Mod server yet, like Cuttlefish, but there was instead a huge TF2 server that ran custom TF2 Homestuck maps and add-ons.
TF2 maps.
Now there's no Homestuck
John's
TF2
house
server.
is the one that still goes around because Super Mario 64 guy still updates it every now and then.
I think a Homestuck TF2 server would be an amazing idea.
Yeah,
like
it's a hard thing to get people in.
Well, the thing is, there was one for like a day.
They did Homestuck in the certain.
It was called Fortress Stuck, and that's not clear.
Stuck, so you couldn't search Homestuck server and have it come up.
The reason Cuttlefish & Co. is so popular is because they're called Cuttlefish & Co. and then in parentheses, a Homestuck server.
Yeah, so if you Googled Homestuck Gmod, it'd come up.
And all the popular Homestuck Gary's Mod servers have that, in parentheses, Homestuck, so you know what it is. If there was a TF2 server that was called, like, Fortress Stuck or Team Fortress Stuck, and then had parentheses, Homestuck or a Homestuck server, I think it would do really well, because there's so many Homestucks who play the game I bump into, but there's no proper server for everyone to meet.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention about your modeling experience?
I think that's about it. That's all the stuff I'm working on. If you got ideas for props, that's always good. More stuff to make.
Yeah, if you have any ideas for maps, props,
my Steam,
characters...
I have a suggestion thread on the workshop page. I'll post a link on the Reddit to my Steam.
It's called the Homestuck Model Pack by Become Ip. And if you go into the suggestion thread, you can suggest any model, and you'll probably end up making it. Is there anything you think you couldn't be capable of?
Characters right now.
Characters.
Everyone wants me to do grubs, but I can't do them yet.
Perhaps once you finish your secret thing, you can
I'll
get
look
better
back
with characters.
How to do rigging? Yeah, I'm not good with bones.
Oh, do you want to tell
props.
the tale of what happened while trying to rig a ragdoll or no?
I tried to rig Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, and I got it pretty good, but his fingers, I don't even know how to explain it.
Chris Pratt's gnarly fingers.
Yeah, it didn't work out right. So, I do have a Homestuck plan for player models, but I have to figure out how to work them first. If anyone knows any tutorials on how to get the fingers to look right, can you send me the link? Because I can't find anything.
And then maybe you could have some secret Homestuck player models.
Yes,
I wonder what they could be.
Secret place to get characters that aren't ported into Gmod yet. Ooh.
And it's very hard to get in contact with the original people who made these stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. But the map is definitely something I'm hoping to release on 4.13. 6.12 is the latest.
And isn't there actually another Homestuck map in the works?
Which one?
The Hawkat's house map.
Yeah, Baby Fondleg says she's working on one too, but we haven't seen any pictures of it, so
She's
we don't know what
really
she's
busy
doing.
right now working on Owadia. If you go on her blog, you can see pictures of that.
Yeah.
She's also found a way, and you're gonna like this. C is programmed to own cosmetics and hats just like Team Fortress 2. Exactly the same, basically, except it's different stuff. C has found a way to make it so they all show up in first person, so you can actually see your gloves, see your feet, see your shoes. You don't gypped out.
She goes on for a few days, comes back saying, all right, figure out how to get them shown first person, looking good. And we're like, Valve's been working on that for 9 years. They haven't figured it out yet. How'd you just do it in a weekend?
I think Baby Fondlegs needs to be hired.
She needs to be hired by someone. The fact that she's not doing the character models for the game really upsets me.
C should be working on the video game or be with Valve, because C's amazing what she does, and how she bends the source ends in to do these things that you don't seem like you would do.
He'll do with the video game like he does with the comic, where he gets guest artists to do stuff. And
I hope she's working on.
Legs needs to do something for the game.
C should be working on it. C should be the main modeler. Her models look better than the images we've seen of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta admit that, right? Mm-hmm. And Hussey takes 8 months to make one sprite mode model, and Baby Fondlegs releases 6 fully wigged player models in 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely going at a faster pace than Hussey.
Have you made a Duddle?
A Duddle, no. Squiddle, I'm still working on. I think I have a half-finished one somewhere. I'm gonna do a whole update that's just plushies. The Squiddles and the Tavros's bear and the Smuppets, but those are hard to model because they're organic. They're smooth.
You have a half-finished Duddle on your computer somewhere?
It's a Squiddle base, yeah. It doesn't have a texture or a
Aw.
bottom or anything.
So that's all using the Team Fortress
Engine.
It was
engine,
made
right?
for Half-Life.
Half-Life.
But
But it's reused for Team Fortress, Portal, Counter-Strike. They all use the same engine. Valve makes their games in the same stuff.
Well, this is what we've noticed in a lot of video games is that it used to be you only did what the game wanted you to do. And now you see where people are more interested in sitting down and making all of their own stuff and sort of personalizing the game.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be...
That-
like, can you trace that back to a particular game?
Probably some of the early GTAs. Those are the first one people really went wild with because it was
No.
a really nice engine you could have vehicles with.
You're
and
talking
have
about the
weapons.
computer version.
No.
Computer version of Vice City and San Andreas.
Yeah,
I-
because there
First
were
big games.
Back to the Future DeLoreans.
Yeah. And the
that
early
was the first time I
early
saw that.
Sims had a lot of that because that was easy to. It was such a simple game to put stuff in.
What was the first? Go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry.
I can figure out the first few guys. The original Half-Life.
The original Half-Life? That was
The
Quake
ori-
before that.
The original Half-Life.
What were you saying, Dad?
Well, I was just going to say, what was the first commercial one where the game company said, okay, we get it, this is what you guys want, and the reaction is, stop doing it on your own when we can sell it to you.
That was Little Big Planet.
It's got to be Little Big Planet,
Little Big
right?
Planet was the first game, Play, Create, Share. It was their subtitle. And Sony said, we're copywriting Play, Create, Share, and we have a whole line of games based off of it.
And they only released Little Big Planet.
No, they did Mod Nation, the racing version.
Yeah. So we have Josie here. Now, Josie, come in. Let her in here. You play Little Big Planet all the time.
Oh, yes.
So get up on the mic. Now, you've grown up
Mm-hmm.
thinking that video games were made to be your own creation.
Yes, because
You-
that's what they all are.
Yeah, I know.
You
isn't it?
create your own.
You're only 9, so this is all. Get up on the mic. This is what you know,
Yep.
right? So when you play Little Big Planet, did you play the game that was encoded on the disc, or do you only care about the sandbox portion?
We only care about the sandbox portion where we can just create.
You gotta get on the mic, honey.
We mostly play on the sandbox area where we can just create and make our own stuff. We don't really play the story mode levels.
Yeah, but you buy like they managed to find a way to sell you more. So the downloadable content are all these licensed character costumes. I know because you just had me buy you something the other day.
The other day, that was like a month ago.
Which one was it?
I think it was
Was
the Spider-Man
Spider-Man
skin.
set. Spider-Man skins. Now, the thing is also that this game is not only sandbox where you're creating your own levels, but it's social because then you're sharing them on the internet so that anybody can play. Now, Josie, you sit and actually socialize while you're playing the game, right?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I do.
Tell us what that is about.
Well,
How does that work?
it's basically where if you have a microphone headset, you can plug it into your PlayStation, might be PlayStation, and you could talk to other people that could be across the world. I know somebody who lives in Louisiana. I have someone who lives in Seattle. They're all over the place, basically. You could just and if you don't even have a mic, there's this place where you can just chat. Like there's a chat thing in your little area.
That's so bizarre because my childhood was spent at the pizza joint playing Pac-Man and Galaga and all these other games, and we chatted with the guy standing next to us. So the idea that, like, you guys are too young to remember there was a movie called Cable Guy with Jim Carrey,
I knew you were going to mention that.
where
line.
if you watch it, he talks about the future of cable, and he's like, you could play Mortal Kombat with your friend in Vietnam. And the whole time we're like, no one's gonna play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. And guess what you can do today?
Yeah.
You can play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. So that was 1996, and we're finally at an age where that's the normal. Like,
Yeah.
that's all that Josie knows. And when you guys were playing Little Big Planet, the first thing you did was sit down and make every kind of Homestuck costume.
Yes.
So not
I made
only
so
can
many
you
of those.
create these massive levels, but you can also create the costumes that the character is wearing.
Back when I was really into Star Wars in like 2011, before I went Homestuck, I made Star Wars costumes, and then I made the costumes savable and gave them to people in costume levels. And I just made this level as a fun little thing. I like, oh, there might be a guy out there who gets one of my costumes. This level ended up getting thousands of plays and becoming really popular. So I went through every Star Wars movie making themed costumes. And they all got hundreds of plays, but there was one that got thousands of plays. This level was so immensely popular. People ran around these costumes like crazy. And that is my Phantom Menace themed level. There was nothing worse than saying, your Star Wars levels are amazing. Really? Everyone's running around your costumes. Really? Yeah, the Phantom Menace ones. What?
We were playing the Phantom Menace, Little Big Planet at
Like, seriously?
the
My
Plinkett household.
that
I always liked the lesser Little Planet game, karting.
Yeah, because you can make 3D
Little
levels in
Planet
that
karting,
one.
you can make levels. If you own Little Planet karting, search up John's house at Homestuck, because I actually made a full replica of his house, and it's the first 3D modeling I did, because the engine in that game is actually pretty good.
It's just like Blender.
Yeah, it just basic shapes and stuff.
Do you feel when making that you knew that eventually someday you'd be making a wheel map for the Source Engine?
Nothing on this scale, no.
And because like that's a map, you make it and you publish it, and a few people play it. Now you're doing it on a much larger scale.
I haven't checked the John's house in a year and a half.
It might have
As far
taken
as I
off.
know it could have taken off, be the #1 map in the game. The creators have put it at the top levels, and I've never checked. Who knows where it is?
Now you're on a much larger scale because
Yeah.
now more than just making a map and publishing it, servers can run it, not just like a racing one where you're
Yeah.
switching maps every few minutes.
Karting had a bad setup.
If you make this roleplay map and it catches on, there could be Homestuck servers that constantly just run this map forever.
Yeah,
How does that make you feel?
that's wow. Please finish it. It's a orange untextured box.
I get like playing in the sandbox of these established games,
Like-
and you're basically
Yeah.
taking a game and altering the look of it. You're not really altering the gameplay, right? Because the gameplay
Well,
is the
Depends.
gameplay.
The Source Engine's open. Source Engine, you can edit the gameplay all you want. Other engines are more strict.
Has anybody taken the leap to make like a Homestuck game that looks like Donkey Kong or something vintage?
Oh, there's a few. There's
Hammerkind.
Hammerkind, which is a little flash mini game someone made of John on his rooftop fighting imps. It's really fun. It's one of the few Homestuck games. The creator said the game's 100% done. Have fun with it. There's Home Strife, which is a Smash Brothers clone that
got canceled.
It got shut down. What Pumpkin says they ran out of funding and time, and so they went to What Pumpkin saying, "Can we team up with you guys? We can get it done if we have your help." And What Pumpkin said, "Yeah, it's not really up to our standards. Sorry," and it got shut down. He gave out the full source code so other people could continue the project, but it's dead.
Trezzy Pyro Ace Attorney, that one also
Crazy
died.
Pyro Ace Attorney, they got 2 or 3 episodes in. That's an Ace Attorney reskin.
Oh, Featherbent.
Featherbent is the most popular. It's a visual
Walkaround.
novel. It's not a walk around. It's a visual novel, I think, of some really weird AU where they're all birds. I never liked it, but it's all the big voice actors and stuff, so people really like it.
The problem I have with Featherbent is the characters have been headcanoned and AU'd
It's-
so much on such
it's
a grand...
hardly Homestuck.
Yeah.
It's just their own sort of thing.
But the characters have the names John,
Yeah.
Vriska. But Vriska, I've seen the pictures of Featherbent Vriska. They don't look like Vriska. And the reason this upsets me is they look so unlike the Homestuck characters, but the game has so much work put into it. This should be its own game on Steam Greenlight that could be really popular.
Take off the branding. It could be on Steam, but Hussey will never allow it as it is.
It's because it's a Homestuck game,
Yeah.
despite the fact that it's not very Homestuck.
And then what's the other one? What's the 2-player one?
You mean the Dave one where you went around his planet?
Yeah, you run around the kid's planet. It's a 2D side scroller.
That one was finished too.
It was never 100. He never said 100%. It's done. It's
But
just it's at a really good stage where you can play it now.
And some guy's trying to make
Yeah.
Suburb right now.
And then Suburb the game, which is on the Unity engine, which is really cool. It's the style. He took the comic style, so it looks nice. But he's just started it last summer, so it's gonna be a while before it's at a playable stage.
And then there's a Dave one where you're on a skateboard going across rooftops, right?
That's just a little flash game.
That's a little
Skate or die.
Yeah. That's a side-scroller, move around and dodge the stuff. It's fun.
It's fun. And
There's a few Sweep Row games where it's just a ragdoll falling down stairs.
See, I would play that one.
Yeah. Someone made an actual Sweep Row game with all these terrible mini games in it and stuff, and he put the Dropbox on Reddit, and it was like a 3 gigabyte download. And the game's only a few megabytes. The rest is all bad images and My Little Pony fan fiction. There's like over a gigabyte of My Little Pony fan fiction when you try to download his game.
That sounds great.
It's all part of the Sweet Bro experience.
Yeah, that's great.
But
Sweet Bro, man.
But I think that covers them all.
yeah,
What about that one where it was called Car Cat Man? And it was a little car cat. It looked just like Pac-Man, except he was collecting little buckets.
Oh God!
Why,
Don't give
dude?
them any ideas.
You ever played that one?
Don't give them ideas.
Oh, I think I just made that one up. You don't remember that one? Da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. And he's like, wah, 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 wah. Those are buckets he's picking up.
Why?
And they're sloshing over.
why are you doing
They're
this?
sloshing over the buckets. What do you think?
You know
And
what?
instead of ghosts, it's the Duddles chasing him around.
That sounds better than the Homestuck game.
Yeah. What Homestuck game?
Oh.
Oh, that it was too close to home. Ooh, sucker.
But out of all these games, I like Gary's mod the best because
Mod,
even when you're not making the actual mods, when you're playing the actual game itself, it's still a sandbox mode where you can create your own character and build your own stuff out of the pre-made parts, just like
Yeah.
Little Big Planet. You basically get access to every Half-Life prop and Homestuck item that Luna has made. And there's also Pack Character Creator, which is a really complicated character creation system that I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn. It is really complicated. And what we do is we take the Fawn Legs models, because he's modeled the Homestuck sprite modes, and use them as a base to create the other characters that haven't been made for Gary's mod. Like, I've taken Diamond's Droog, and I have altered him so much using the in-game character creator and spent hours working on it, to the point where he has become Grandpa Harley, or Andrew Hussey. I made Andrew Hussey in-game, out of in-game stuff.
All right, so we're going to wrap up with this. In honor of our trip tomorrow to Las Vegas, we're going to imagine what the Homestuck Hotel and Casino would look like.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Andrew Hussey's been given the green light. He's been given $750 million to build a brand new Las Vegas hotel and casino themed to Homestuck. What is it in the shape of?
But
The shape of
the house, maybe.
kind of defies all gravity.
Yeah, but still.
He finds a way.
There's no rules here.
Like, he can't even make this hotel because it's for a teen-oriented audience, and you can't make slot machines and arcades based on that.
They're
type of
doing
audience.
it. No, don't bring
Homestuck
logic.
was originally aimed at a 30 to 40-year-old audience. The
Don't
first few
yeah.
acts
Don't
of
bring logic into
middle-aged
this.
People his age.
So it's a giant. You're talking about the house logo. That's what the casino looks like. You
Oh,
walk in. Charles Dutton is greeting you. He's the greeter.
Why?
Full-time job.
Exactly. We're gonna hire him.
Oh,
All
Okay.
the slot machines had to be 80s movies.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for. What are the slot machines themed to?
You gotta-
Ghostbusters, anything with Nick Cage in it.
There's a Con Air machine.
Con Air
Yeah.
When you
machine.
pull the handle, it goes, "How do I live without you?"
You know the giant slot machine they have? That's like, it's colossal,
Yeah,
and you can win
yeah.
big from it.
The big,
That's-
the gimmicky one.
That one's themed after Ghost Dad, and there's a Bill Cosby ghost phasing through the slot machine.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And when you hit the jackpot, it spews out pudding. You won the jackpot. I don't drink the pudding, right? Right?
God.
Okay, so you go up to the front desk, and what does the uniform look like? Whose uniform? Because everybody in the hotel has to be in a costume. So all the front desk
So
is
what's
dressed.
the bellhop uniform, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and the front
I
desk.
think John's Ecto Gear would look good.
Yeah.
With the blue and green suit.
Yeah, and they're
That's
like,
what's
"Welcome
going
to
on.
what's the name of it? Is it? It's
Dames.
at Casino Stuck, Hotel Stuck.
Hotel
Oh,
stuff.
It's called
No, no,
Hotel
no.
Stuck. You're home stuck away
When-
from home.
When people do Homestuck Hotel they use, they have a name they use.
What's that?
It's the best name you can ever imagine. Hotel California.
That's it. So, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely
What's
place.
that guy's name on Tumblr?
Farrah Cody.
Barricode. He had one RP a long time ago called Hotel California, and Austin came in and ruined it. To this day, his Tumblr description is still, "I regret Hotel California."
Well, we're building it on the Vegas Strip, It looks like
Right
the
next to
logo
the Hard Rock on the
right
strip?
next to the Hard Rock, so that Nick Cage and the Con Air plane can just crash right into it. Okay, and the kids area, like where they play carnival games, they only have one prize: the bunny.
Yeah.
Various different bunnies.
What about Squiddles and Scalemates?
They have,
those are like $40.
Yeah, no, those are in the gift shop. Those are expensive. The gift shops are stocked with Faygo and cosplay items. Every Homestuck is like, oh God, I wish this was real.
For the games, you actually hold the bunny and you have to make a chaos slam dunk into the box in order to get to keep the bunny as a prize.
Yeah, and when you lose, the guy goes, why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
Yeah, and then he literally takes your bunny and packs it back up in the storage boxes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You gotta pay $4.13 more to continue.
And they have attractions at this hotel and casino.
Oh, sort of like Circus Circus.
Yeah, but
Gamzee's Circus Circus.
Yeah, so one of the attractions is you pay $5 and you could push that guy down the stairs.
Yeah. This is Gamzee's Dark Carnival section of the hotel. Aimed for the younger audience. You get to push people down flights of stairs. Well, what else would be some fun activities?
Well, you know who the resident house band is, right?
Who?
They're in the big showroom every night. Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, yeah. They do the performance.
Board outside.
Yes. It's for the kids.
Insane Clown Posse every night. When are they performing? Every night, man. Shaggy too dope. Every night.
Most work they've ever gotten.
And I have a secret. They actually have a secret Juggalo discount in the hotel on some of the rooms.
Yeah, now
Your subjugulator card.
there's also a buffet. It's the Guy Fieri Homestuck buffet, right? And the gimmick is that because it's all you can eat, everything is served in a bucket.
Yeah.
This is so real, it's scary.
They name every sauce grub sauce, and you don't know what's what.
It's all
Like,
just grub sauce.
I'd like the grub sauce and the person with the ladle, the cook. What does the cook wear? What's a cook uniform?
Cook uniform?
Yeah, cook uniform.
Betty Crocker.
Betty Crocker. And the Betty Crocker cooks are like, oh, what? Here's your grub sauce. And they scoop it onto your plate, and you're like, what is this?
All the slot machines, the pull handle is a big red spoon.
Yeah.
It's the Homestuck, what's it called? Hotel California.
Hotel California.
On the Las Vegas Strip. And we're going to go there when? Tomorrow. Which, while you're listening, was 2 days ago. This hurts my head. There's your mom. We just invented the Homestuck Hotel and Casino on the Las Vegas Strip. Fully themed. Fully themed. And Andrew Hussey's there, like Steve Wynn. He just glad hands and is like, how you doing? You liking everything? And they have a food court. They have a buffet and a food court. The food court has 12 restaurants, all Taco Bell.
Yeah.
So there's never a line.
The Taco Bell Pizza Hut combination Pizza Hut. And Taco
There's one of
Bell.
those, right?
Yeah.
And it's somewhere there's a hidden Subway, and every time you order a sandwich, they draw Homestuck characters on the wrapper.
Isn't that a burrito? No. It's you doubting my sub.
Where would I find the Olive Garden breadsticks? Is that like the room service?
Yeah,
Oh,
no. It's whenever you go back to your room after night services has cleaned it. There's a couple of breadsticks on your bed.
Yeah.
Instead of late night mints, you get garlic breadsticks.
And instead of having a bed,
Horse paintings in every room.
Yeah.
and instead of sleeping in beds, you go in with Koopacoons. They fill it full of green sluds, and that's how you sleep in, just like the trolls.
Yeah. You can go to the gift shop and get canned bread.
Yeah.
It's really delicious. And it has, you know how like the Silverton Casino has a giant Bass Pro Shop, right?
Ooh.
Our Hotel California has the same size What Pumpkin.
Yeah.
It has a What Pumpkin as big as a shopping mall.
Now-
with every kind of horn, t-shirt, cosplay, vinyl figure, puzzle, sticker. There's a tattoo shop. Okay, if you had a tattoo shop at the casino that gives you a free Homestuck tattoo shop, what would it be called?
The Poems Inc., something like that. Something themed after Poem, who's the Homestuck character covered in tattoos.
Yes, this is a reality. We're going to make this happen, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to hit that in the morning tomorrow. In the early afternoon. All right, well, in the interest of going to Las Vegas, we're going to sign off on this show. Any last words on this episode? Episode 11.
And how do we put 11 in the title?
I'm going to take out a letter and put in 1-1 right in there. It's going to
And
be really cool.
Special thanks again to Whisker Circuit and Game Killer 48 for the donations.
Yes.
Glad you're listening to the show.
Their 35 is going to get you all the way through Act 1. That's over an hour. How much money would it take to get you through the whole comic?
You know they're going to do it.
Someone needs to do that math. Add up all of Collab and divide it by 90 minutes and see how much sessions it would take.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, Hussey once did a Midnight Coup event where you could pay $20 and he'll draw you whatever you want.
Yeah, it's just like that.
And people kept paying him $20 more to continue the adventure, so it was a paid adventure.
It was paid $20 and Hussey would draw you whatever you want. Well, it started turning into a story where everyone would submit $20 and then add on to the previous person. It turned into this whole crowd-funded battle between these characters.
Well, hey, listen, we're not above your donation, so if you'd like to take over the show and dictate exactly what we'll be watching, the way Vriska has, go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and search 91 Reasons. Leave us a message. You can pledge $1. You know, there's no minimum. Everything's great as long as you're supporting the show. We're great with that. But leave us a message. Go on Facebook at Like 91 Reasons. You can see pictures of what we all look like. We're going to be posting pictures from our Las Vegas trip as soon as we get back. And it's a great way to interact with the show. I am also running a Kickstarter campaign for my series of books, The Sixth Key. You can go to Kickstarter.com and search my name, Jeff Tucker, or search the name of my third book, The Infinite Backward. There are also links on our Facebook page. I'm trying to raise $750 so that we can get all the accoutrements for WonderCon.
We will be there, by the way.
We'll be there either way. This is going to help defray costs of the table, the hotel room, and product to sell. All the donations are directly linked to book sales, so you're actually getting a pretty good tangible item for your donation. It's not like just give us money. We're not like that. And if you don't want to pledge, that's fine too. We will continue to do episodes. We love doing this. We sit down every week. Yes, sir?
It's not about the amount of the pledge, it's the thought of the pledge that counts.
Aren't you sweet? Look at you. I'm going to give you $1.
But seriously, though, if we get any sort of donation, I take it like, oh my god, I'm doing a good job.
I know. You came in all pale-faced. You're like, this guy wants to give me all these hats. What do I do? What do I do? I was like, take the guy's hats. He wants to give you the hats. Imagine how many hats that guy has if he's giving you a stack.
They're a top trader in the TF2 and
that's pretty darn
communities.
cool.
Did they have when you checked their backpack?
I lost count.
Those
So,
are 50 each.
And they're a listener of 91 Reasons, which is really cool.
I'm glad you love the show, Game Killer 48, and keep on listening.
We hope everybody keeps on listening because we'll keep on doing those until we run out of things to say, which could be never, right?
Could be never.
Could be never.
Be
Hussey
never.
says
He's going to release Homestuck stuff till the end of time. But then it won't be as Magnus Opus. He's got something else to plan, too.
And if you know Andrew Hussey and he'd like to appear on the show, just let us know. We will certainly come up with a way to do that because, in a show themed around stuff he creates, we might let him come on.
Yeah,
Maybe.
We'll be at WonderCon with business cards.
We'll be at WonderCon with business cards, and more importantly, we'll be at WonderCon with the necessary equipment to record a show.
At the meetup.
At the meetup. So we're going to arrange, as we get closer to WonderCon, we will arrange a time and place, and we will actually be there to record a show. If you want to be on 91 Reasons, look us up, find us there, go to the meetup, raise a glass of Faygo, and talk about the greatest webcomic ever created, which is called what?
Homestuck.
On the coolest podcast, which is called what? 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?